everyone, and welcome to the Arrows Up podcast. This is German coming to you on this edition of the pod where I have David here with me, as always, the Hall of Fame guest. We have David. We had in my opinion, probably the most anticipated fight we've had in quite some time, probably since Canelo Triple G, the first one. A few weeks ago. And obviously this was a fight for the hardcore guys like you and I. This wasn't right. It didn't have the same appeal as Golovkin Canelo because the names weren't there, the storylines. But you and I had been talking about this for a while, about this fight. I even went I was tired of it. I wasn't even gonna talk about it until they decided to fight. Right. Shortly after that, it was announced they're fighting. And I remember just sending tweets wait, is this really happening?
We manifested it. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, you're welcome. You're welcome for that fight. So it seems, so let's cover the fight first. Heading into the fight, how did you feel the fight was going to go?
Honestly, I thought it was going to go the distance, but I felt that Crawford was easily going to
easily.
I don't want to I thought at the very least 8 to 4 rounds.
Okay, so
that'd be the worst someone would have it, in favor of Spence, I didn't see him losing many rounds, but I was hoping Spence would have made it interesting for the first couple of rounds.
Right.
And then Bud would just take over, outbox him, start hurting him, but not in the fashion that we got. Because I was, because we know Crawford can fight, he can knock guys out, but I was not expecting that. I didn't see the fight live. I saw it the next day, but because I was at a gig, but I remember I was eating after the gig and it was already past 9, and I thought, oh, let me see what's going on with the fight,
Yeah.
And then I saw the results, and I saw Spence's face, and I was like, good God, what happened? Did someone else show up and fight for Spence? I wasn't expecting that.
Did he fight Wilder?
Whoa. Yeah, I was like, who did they toss in there last minute? Because I thought he was getting knocked down. I think he got knocked 3 times in that last round before they called it, and I was like, whoa, so yeah. And I was even gonna bet on the fight, just something playful, but with my dad, because we're always just talking smack with each other, and I was gonna bet on Spence just for the heck of it, just stir the pot, stir the pot. And I was gonna buy him the bet was gonna be that if Spence won, he'd buy me a bottle of some kind of, by choosing whether it be a nice brandy or tequila, whatever the case is, because we do mixed drinks.
Right.
And we couldn't agree on the terms of the bet, because he was like, oh, why don't you give me a few bottles of wine that aren't too expensive, and I was like, no, I don't know. So we couldn't decide. So we ended up we didn't come to a conclusion. We didn't reach any kind of, we never shook hands. We never verbally said this is the bet. But on Sunday, after I was watching the highlights, my dad was like, yo, so you're gonna you owe me, you lost. And I was like, no. We never shook hands.
Yeah.
We never verbally, so he was like, no. With me, it's only your word. And I was like, we never even agreed though, with the word either. So, but
a man only has his word.
Yeah, but I was kind of dang, I'm glad I didn't make that bet, because Spence got worked, man. I was expecting a better fight from him, and but that just goes to show Bud's greatness. And like you said before, some people were, they're acting brand new out here with him.
Yeah,
And it's
one of
kind
the
of like,
things that was
yeah,
interesting was how many people were telling on themselves, because sometimes I like to read tweets sometimes because people will expose themselves without wanting to, because somebody will tweet something like, it happened a lot, for example, during the playoffs, the NBA playoffs with Jokic. And so somebody would be
right.
like, man, Jokic is really good. And it was like, oh, this is your first time watching him. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, did you see what Jokic did? And it was funny to see people who, supposedly watch basketball on a regular basis and I'm not talking about like people like you and me. I'm talking about like people who work for like ESPN and get paid to follow the sport. Being surprised at some of
Right.
the stuff that you're like, this is your job, and you why are you
Yeah.
acting like this is like something new to him? And a lot of the
Right.
commentary on Showtime was, oh man, I cannot believe Crawford is doing this. And I went in there thinking it was going to be a close fight. I thought Crawford was going to win because I just thought he was better. He was a better fighter. Uh,
Yeah.
and I've liked Crawford for a long time. So my rooting interest was with Crawford, but I just thought he's more talented. He has more tools in his bag. So ultimately, it's going to be a close fight because I mean, Spence is a good fighter, but ultimately, class is going to rise and we're going to see Crawford win. But people were acting like what they were watching was unimaginable. And I'm like, well, no,
Yeah.
I was surprised that he dominated him the way it did. So he did. But if somebody would have told me, hey, Crawford and Spence are going to fight and Crawford's going to show himself to be significantly better than Spence, I wouldn't be like, there is no way. Because
Right.
Spence up to this point hadn't really fought anybody at his level. When he fought Sean Porter, who was, a good fighter, he struggled with him. And Sean
Yeah.
Porter gave him fits, and Crawford just ran through Sean Porter. And so it was one of those things that watching Spence and watching Crawford, I thought that there was a clear one was clearly more talented, but people were acting like what Crawford did was like Andy Ruiz stuff. Like, oh man, he had the
Right.
best
Like
fight of
biggest
his life.
upset. Like,
And you're just
yeah.
like, dude, this is what Crawford does every single time he goes out there. He shows out. And
Yeah.
so that was very interesting. That was interesting and funny to see how the boxing media told on themselves. But it was one of the things that was interesting was that Crawford was like the first knockout. I think he knocked him down with a jab, and it was just like bam.
Right.
And it
Right.
was so fast and it was so powerful. And it was one of those things that from that point forward, Spence had no idea he didn't know what to do with Crawford.
Yeah.
And it was I mean I want to be respectful to Spence because he's a good fighter. He's a champion or was a champion, but it was like these guys were fighting. They were from completely different like worlds in terms of skill. Like Spence didn't even belong in that ring with him. It reminded me a lot of when Canelo fought Amir Khan. And when Canelo fought Amir Khan, had a really good, solid career. But when Canelo Amir Khan fought, it was one of those like, oh my God, what is this guy doing in here? Like
Right.
you are way out of your league in this fight. And you could tell, and up until like the sixth round before Canelo nearly killed Khan, um, it was almost like Canelo was letting him hit. He was like, all right, like, showcase yourself a little bit. Because once Canelo was like, all right, this is it, it's over, we're good. It was done. It was over, and that's how this fight felt. It felt like it didn't matter whether Spence would have had extra time. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered because it was going to be the same result. And so at the end of the fight, you had Jim Gray's asking Spence because he has the right to kick off an automatic rematch. And he's like, oh yeah, we're going to run it back. And I'm like, for what?
For what? Like, why?
Like, what is because, it's not like the Wilder Fury thing was similar, but the thing is, Wilder at least could say, I've knocked this dude down. Like, I have a chance to win this fight. And when he said, oh yeah, I'm gonna trigger the automatic rematch, I'm like, for why? Like, I mean, I guess for the checks, but I just don't understand that logic. Why would he want to do that again? But yeah, it was a good fight though. I think overall, I thought it was a really good fight because Crawford,
he delivered on his end. Like he I mean, that's man,
he was so good.
Okay, let me say this. Okay, like back when Garcia and Tank fought, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Tank won the way he did.
Yeah.
Like, there were some people that were like, oh man, that was whack. I'm like, well, whack for who? Whack for Garcia? Yeah, sure. I mean, because he's lost, but it's like, dude, Tank showed up and like did his thing. So like, if
but but Tank didn't do what Crawford did to Spence.
No, yeah, but
I mean, I think Ryan with a real trainer, I'm not saying he beats Tank, but
yeah, at least makes it competitive.
Yeah, because before he gets dropped, Ryan was in there. Ryan was, landing some punches. He was using his but you could just tell it was one of those, like, he had no game plan. Nobody talked to him. Like, nobody showed him video. But yeah.
But a lot of guys had Ryan winning because of his attributes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me. I'm one of those guys.
That's what I'm saying. So like, but just the fact that Tank said on his end, he's like, yo, I'm gonna do my thing. Right. I'm gonna show that I'm better than this guy.
Yeah.
And that's what, but and obviously, like, I expect each fighter to say that. I don't expect any fighter to be like, well, yeah, he might be the better guy, but each guy's going in thinking that they're the man.
Right.
But Crawford, like, he handled business, and I'm like, dude, that's what you want to see. It's good for us as the peers, but it's also good, like, for the eye candy, because I'm okay. Because I'll give you an example, right? Like, Canelo in the first Triple G fight, that one, good fight, good hard fight, but the fact that there wasn't like a clear winner where it's like, oh, this guy got dropped or this guy, it left like the casuals kind of like, oh, that wasn't a good fight, So just the fact that Crawford got to showcase his skills, like, I'm glad all these people are telling on themselves. Because now I'm just like, good, yes, give Bud the recognition he deserves. Yeah. Yes, he's exciting. Because remember the whole promotion thing with Bob Arum, where like he felt like he wasn't being showcased, and so the fact that he made a big fight and he showed out, it's like, yes, this guy is. Yes, look into Bud Crawford. Don't just follow the guys that you think are flashy, or if you think he's hot or whatever. It's like, fighters actually fight, boxers actually box. Look into that. And there are guys.
But it is interesting though, because what Bob Arum said was right, and that's one of those, like, both things could be true.
Yeah.
Because Bob Arum's entire beef not beef, but his criticism of Crawford wasn't that he wasn't it wasn't that he's a boring fighter. It was he has no personality. And it's one of those things that in boxing you need. You need a personality. You got to sell yourself.
You got to sell it. Yeah.
And because even after the fight, Crawford was still not selling himself. It wasn't a like, he didn't put on a crown. He didn't like do any of that. It wasn't, it was very like, oh, he's a good fighter, but I was just ready. And the moments I was, and all that is like classy and the whole thing. But it's
Right.
like, that is exactly his entire like selling of the fight is why that fight happened on Showtime and not on ESPN. Because I think if Crawford had, and I'm not even talking about like Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya type of PR, but if he had like Canelo PR, because Canelo is able to sell a fight. He's not flashy like that, but he's able to sell a fight, talk some stuff, do a commercial, stuff like that.
Some content, little promo vid.
Yeah, exactly.
Training video with some
Yeah,
music.
come out in a commercial, show that you have a personality, like, like play golf with like Steph Curry, things like that.
Right.
If he had a little bit of that,
yeah,
he would have been
he did it a little bit.
the A side.
That last press conference, I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah,
like the absurd. At least try the whole absurd, like, like talking trash at the press conference. It's better than nothing at this point.
Yeah,
just try things out. Because also, I mean, I can tell that like that's not his style, but
no, not
like,
at all.
but just just give it a shot, see what works for you. Because because I also can't see like we both know like Canelo's not a big like trash talking guy unless you piss him off and you're like Abel Sanchez or something. But even then, like you got to find what works for you and try to get something out there to the people. So
he needs like someone in his corner. He needs like a Luther, like the Key and Peele thing. Like he needs someone in his corner that's just gonna say crazy things, and they're like,
yeah.
Because that's just gonna hype it up. That's just gonna be like, oh man, Crawford has this weird, crazy guy hanging around him. He just outlandish things.
Fill the pot, yeah.
Yeah, because if he had at least that, all of a sudden you're like, oh man, here you go. Crawford's manager. That guy's crazy.
Crawford, hit me up. I can help him out. I'll be that guy.
I'll be like, he needs like a Paul Heyman, like that's what he needs.
Yeah, he needs someone like whispering things in his ear. Hey, this guy, this reporter that just asked you that said this. What are you gonna say to that? Like just
he would never ask
just
Spence
like instigating.
That question.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, yeah, definitely like great for boxing. You know, it was exciting. The build-up was cool, and yeah,
it was such a great fight. Yeah,
because you just said, like with Spence, it's like, bro, no one wants to see that rematch. Like, don't need it.
Yeah.
Charlo 154 or Tim, I don't know how to say his name, Tszyu 154. Like, is that the next logical step, or does he defend? I don't know. Does he defend like once against someone else besides Spence at 147 as undisputed champ, or just go to 154?
Well, this is the thing. I think that if you're Spence, you have to be driving home the message that you are too drained.
Right.
You have to. Now, will people believe it? Probably not. But it's gonna be the best excuse without making an excuse that he's gonna have.
Right.
And so if I'm Spence, I say, you know what, let's fight again, but let's do it at 154. At 147, I wasn't myself. I was too drained. Yada, yada, yada. Now, I think that's where this whole thing falls apart. I don't know if Crawford wants to go up to 154. I don't know if because we got to remember Crawford is 35, so it's not like Crawford is young. And most guys, when it comes to this age, don't like to go up. They like to come down, especially someone with a build like Crawford. Crawford is not built like a big guy who's able to pack in weight. So this is where I think if I'm Spence, the fight benefits him if it's at 154. I just don't know if Crawford is going to go up to 154. I don't know what the incentive is for him to fight at that level.
At all, or just against Spence?
Well, in general, I don't like if you're 35-year-old Crawford, you've probably made your biggest money fight with Spence. Spence is going to trigger the automatic rematch. So that fight's going to happen no matter what.
Right.
It's in the contract. So whether it's at 147, 154, if it's at 154, that's a easier fight to sell because now it's okay. Well, now it's at 154, a blown up Spence. Like, this can be competitive, yada, yada, yada. But after that, I don't anticipate Charlo beating Canelo. So is that fight going to really be a big money maker for him at 154? Is that going to be really worth it for him to fight Charlo at 154? So that's where I think he's probably better off going to 147 and waiting for Delfimo, waiting for Haney, waiting for these guys to get to 147 and make these really big fights at 147. Because now he's kind of following the Mayweather blueprint where he's fighting these up and comers and he's catching them when they're really good, but they're not completely
formed. Right. They're not full. They're not their final form yet.
Exactly. And he's still savvy, good enough, skilled enough to beat them. So I don't know. I just don't know at 154 what's there for him. And I saw on Twitter, somebody was like, Crawford says he's willing to fight Canelo at 158. And I'm like, okay, well, that just means he's not willing to fight Canelo because Canelo's not going to go to 158. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So it's him saying that, I think, just makes it very clear of his intentions of where he wants to fight. Because 154 for 35-year-old who's never fought at that weight class, that I don't know. He could do it. He's skilled enough to do it.
That's where I'm going to put my stock because
at 154.
At 154, I think because even right, would the issue be maybe his power wouldn't translate as much at 154 because there'd be bigger guys, right?
Well, his footwork, the whole thing.
Yeah. But I think the skills to outbox guys and win fights that way is still there.
Kind of like Bernard Hopkins style.
Yeah, and even Floyd when he was fighting some of those guys at 154, even if they were catch weights, he didn't knock out Canelo. He just made him look really bad fundamentally, and as far as his speed, his reflexes, and all that. I think Crawford could definitely do that. And Charlo, you got to think because Charlo's a big guy. Yeah, Charlo's got to be getting tired of making weight at 154.
I know,
he's 6 feet tall.
I know, but who else is there at 154 for Crawford to stay?
Just another undisputed fight, and if it doesn't work out, if he attempts it, it's kind of like when Canelo was messing with 175, where it's like if he can do it, great. If he can't do it, then it's like hey, look at how big they were. Look at and then because he can still do the thing where he waits for those guys at 147. But I think right now is a time where he can attempt to, mess with 154, try it once or twice. And if it doesn't work out, then it's like, you know what? I tried it. Didn't work out the way I thought it was. And I can go back and dominate at 147 and beat some of these young bucks that are still a little green, But I think, because, if 154 was stacked and there were a lot of guys, I'd be like, yo, don't do it. That's too much work to try to, yet again climb through those ranks and beat a bunch of names. But since it's just Charlo, and I'm going to say an easy rematch with Spence, give it a whirl. Because okay, that's let's say he wants to go that route. That's 2 fights. You can make those fights easily next year. Like that is within reach. Fighting twice a year is pretty, like conservative. Especially with today. But if there were a bunch of guys for him to fight where it's like he has to make 3 or 4 fights and try to win different belts with those guys, I'd be like, yeah, if you're 35, like, yeah, don't do it, bro. Just cash in the checks and defend at 147. But since it's just Charlo and a fight with Spence, I'd like give it a whirl.
Okay.
And I think he's good enough to pull it off with his skills. If he really
I think
is the
so
guy
too.
that
I just don't know. I think he's good enough too. I just don't know if it's worth it.
3-time undisputed?
Yeah,
that's legacy, man.
I know, but then what? You're gonna vacate those belts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, hey,
then, yeah.
You and me as Canelo fans, when Canelo beat Kovalev and got a belt 175, I will take that to my grave, even though he's not campaigning full-time 175. I will fight my grandkids saying this guy fought Kovalev at 175 and won a belt at light heavyweight. Is your guy doing that?
That's
so.
Fair.
Hey, imagine just if Crawford's 3-time on his feet, he'll be the only guy to do that. That's what's within reach. That's history books.
Okay, well here is the counter argument to that. Charlo fights Canelo September 30th. Are we sure he's fighting? Are we because obviously that whole conversation is because Crawford said it. Crawford before the Spence fight said he'll fight Charlo if he beats Canelo. And it turned into this whole thing on Twitter. It was like, oh, well, then he's not fighting Charlo. Would Charlo want to fight Crawford coming off of Canelo loss?
He could fight Tim while Crawford fights Spence at 154. Charlo beats Tim, nice little tune-up.
Oh man, you're betting a lot on a guy who hasn't fought in
about a year, right? A year.
I know
he's not the other Charlo. The other one hasn't fought in a long time.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying the fact that this guy as a champion has been inactive for that long, and the only reason why he's coming out is because of the payday with Canelo. I just don't know how interested he's going to be in fighting Crawford if he's coming out off a loss. Especially
I think it'd be interesting because they'd be big fights. They'd be big fights. So you and I both know the Charles haven't been fighting big fights and the money.
Okay.
So I mean, if that's what it takes, more power to you.
Yeah.
And they keep talking about how they have those, they're lions. They have the dog in them. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like
those guys are clowns,
man. They are. But Crawford was there, John at Charlo.
Yeah.
Ringside after he demolished Spence. So I'm like, hey, let's
you're
get
next. On. He told him,
you're next. Yeah, hey, bro, take my money.
Oh man.
Because if Crawford demolishes Charlo, I'm like, good. That takes care of Charlo. Like, damn, bro, you couldn't even be a welterweight that came up to fight you. And we know Canelo's gonna smash him.
Canelo looks so focused, huh?
I think so.
He looks so
I think he's ready to shut people up. He's just this is angry, doubted Canelo. This is the Canelo I've been waiting to see.
He looks like Canelo he looks like the Canelo that fought Golovkin the second time.
Yes.
So wait, you guys think he beat me? Like he beat me? This guy? Like what? Like what? Yeah. You thought I was running? You want me to just stand still and okay, fine, I'll do that.
I will do that, and I'll still beat him.
He looked
Yeah.
I just oh man, watching him train, I'm like, okay, this is like the Canelo This is like pre-celebrity Canelo. This
This,
is
yeah, this is like remember when Rocky got complacent and lost to Mr. T?
yes,
Like
yeah.
so Canelo has reached stardom, and he's been presented with a life of like complacency, but he's like, oh, they think I'm not that guy anymore. Tank's over here saying he's not the face of boxing. They thought I looked bad in my last fight. They think I'm washed up. Shakur says Crawford can beat me. I gotta show him I'm still that guy. I'm still that guy.
Can I ask
I've
you
always been that guy.
can I ask you a touchy question?
Go ahead.
Don't cancel this. How much do you think the because like you and I follow boxing, follow Canelo, and you and I are on Twitter. And Twitter is not
Right.
always boxing Twitter specifically. Is not always a very is not the most diplomatic place on
Oh
the
yeah, of course. It's wild.
and there's camps. And you and I talked about this during the Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia fight. That there was people going for either guy specifically because of the race they, where they fell
Oh,
racially.
okay. Okay. Jeremy, you're scaring me. Go ahead. Ask the question, bro. I'm concerned.
So how much of this like because like Canelo's been one of the things that people the criticism people have is that Canelo doesn't fight black fighters. That Canelo's afraid of black fighters. That Canelo will fight all the other British dudes. He'll fight Eastern European dudes, but he won't fight American black fighters because he's afraid of he'll get beat by the black guy. How much do you think any of that has any merit when it comes to how focused he looks in this training camp? Because I think it has a lot to do with it. He would never say it, and he's smart
No, yeah,
for
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
admitting it.
Okay.
And if I was part of his
Yeah.
PR team, I'd be like, "You shut your mouth and you say no. A fighter's a fighter. Nope."
Just fight. Yeah. They're telling him
But
just shut up and fight.
I mean, as I don't know. I see some of the stuff that's said about Canelo, and I think like you think Canelo's afraid because he's black. Like you think that's what like this guy's came from nothing. This guy has fought his entire life, and you think he sees a
Yeah.
black guy and he's afraid? Do you think any of that has anything to do with why he looks so determined?
Maybe somewhere like, in the deep abyss that is the mind of
Okay.
Canelo,
Yeah.
there has to be because okay. I'm gonna paraphrase, but okay. So remember that the documentary I mentioned about when Chavez fought De La Hoya, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Um, there's a line during the trailer where there's like a narrator speaking, and they said, "Boxing is a sport." And again, I'm paraphrasing. Boxing is a sport that hasn't really been shy about using race as like
Mm.
both a unifier and as like a way to separate yourself to champion yourself, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
They're very open about that.
Yeah.
Mexican style, black fighter. There's all kinds of stigma
Right.
and like stereotype with each race and all that. Even guys, I remember once like Paulie Malignaggi got some heat because he made a comment while commentating about Eastern European style versus like the Black American style that
Right.
and he caught some heat. But I mean, sure, there are guys that fit the stereotypes within each race, so to speak. If you look at most Mexican fighters, Canelo's a great example. Canelo gets hate from Mexicans because his style is not Mexican enough.
Right.
He doesn't look Mexican enough. They're very
Yeah.
vocal about that.
Right. Right.
I have cousins. Oh, he's not Mexican. That guy's
Yeah.
like Europe, and I'm like, bro, really? Like, probably more Mexican than you. The guy sold paletas on
Yeah.
buses. Like, what else could he do?
Manuel
Um,
Marquez.
yeah, screw that guy. I'm tired of him.
Yeah.
And then, um, with black fighters, the whole thing is like
there's the Philly style, there's this
right movement,
yeah,
activity, slick, nice jab. Look at
mm-hmm.
when Duran, have you seen Hands of Stone? Like Duran was into gonna fight Sugar Ray,
right,
and Duran's biggest insults about Sugar, oh, he's a clown, he dances in the ring, that's not a real man, he's not a real fighter, this and that, So I'm maybe there are things that bother Canelo about those criticisms, but I think Canelo also knows that, let's be honest, Charlo, skill wise as a fighter, as far as like fitting that stereotype of like the African American fighter, I don't think he's all that great in that department. Where like if you look at Floyd, like Floyd is like the epitome of that style. Floyd is, Philly shell, slick reflexes, speed, nice counter, head movement.
But I mean, it's
Charlo doesn't fit that, but Charlo being black still fits within that stereotype.
But Charlo fits a different description. Charlo doesn't fit the skilled black guy. He fits.
That's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, but he fits the big, intimidating black guy.
See, okay, like Mike Tyson kind of vibes, like
no, the Wilder, because Tyson had skill. The guy who is going to get in there, he might not have all the skills that you have, but if he puts his hands on you, that's it. And the way they're propping up, Charlo, it's look at him. He's huge. He's a specimen. He's going to go in there, and man, Canelo's not going to be able to run through him. And so, it's one of those things that I wonder how much of it, because obviously this is all a lie. This is not true. But
right.
When you and I both know the type of atmosphere that we're going to be in on September 30th, if Canelo runs through Charlo and knocks him out, we both know what Twitter or X is going to look like.
Right.
We know the memes that are going to come out. And this is like in the comment section. Obviously, this isn't like if you're not on boxing Twitter, if you don't like interact with, you're not going to see it. But you and I both know the memes that are going to come out, the comments that are going to be said, and vice versa. If Charlo were to pull up the upset, I would probably like be off of like Twitter for like a good 2 weeks.
I'm bleeding X. Bye. Bye. Yeah. Like Elon, it's a no for me, dog. I'm going to
Elon. Yeah. I'm sorry, Elon. I'm going to Threads.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah. So, I'm sure Canelo does, like, somewhere in the back of his mind, maybe if he doesn't acknowledge it directly.
Yeah.
I'm sure Canelo, a part of him is thinking, dude, once I beat this guy, like,
you can put this
yet again, another excuse that will be shut down. Yeah. I will yet again have another notch under my belt where I can say, oh, you thought that was a valid criticism? I just beat this guy, which is ridiculous because I'm like, last time I checked, I thought Danny Jacobs and like Kirkland were black. So I'm like, I don't know. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I just think like, man, like this isn't something that, but like, kind of like what you just said, boxing doesn't hide away from it. Mayweather to mock De La Hoya, came in with, a sombrero and, like a charro. Mayweather would fight on Cinco de Mayo because he knew Mexicans watch boxing, and he would sell himself to the Mexican population. Yeah. So this isn't new. This isn't something that we've never seen before.
Vargas and De La Hoya.
Exactly.
I'm more Mexican than that guy.
Yeah. Trinidad versus De La Hoya, the whole Puerto Rican versus Mexican,
the rivalry, right.
That whole thing. So I just there is something to be said about why for this fight at this juncture of his career is Canelo pushing like this. And obviously it's the criticism of, his last fight People still remembering the Bivol fight, but I have to believe that there is just this idea that he doesn't fight black fighters has to be something that within his camp is being said, like, dude, you don't fight these people, supposedly, according to the media.
According to Bud's the one that circulated that, dude.
So, and then this idea, because this takes us back to the Crawford Spence fight. The aftermath of the Spence Crawford fight has been crazy to me, because not only have people told on themselves, but the levels of exaggeration that people are now like speaking.
Reaching. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, one of the things like you alluded to it, Stevenson saying that Crawford can beat Canelo. And it's sometimes you'll hear these things and you're just like, man, like, like, you're a
Do you know
fighter.
what you're saying? Like, yeah, you're a fighter.
Like,
yeah.
You fight for a living. Like, that's what you do. Like, this is like a separate point, but during the NBA season, when the Lakers still had Russell Westbrook, Kendrick Perkins on ESPN said before the season started that Westbrook could be such a great defender that he could be like one of the top defenders in all of basketball. And I was like, bro, like, you played basketball for a living. You won an NBA title. Like, this guy hasn't played defense in years. Like, you play, like, it's one thing if I say it and I tweet like Russell Westbrook sucks on defense, but you played in the NBA and you're saying this nonsense. And that's how I felt when Stevenson said that.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like, it's one thing if a random TikToker says that, but you fight for a living. Like, this is what you do. And I get you're trying to like defend your boy and you're going to back up your boy. And I get that.
Yeah.
But come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Makes
yeah.
no
When
sense.
I saw that, I was like, Shakur, like, I love you and all, but like, put the pipe down, bro. Like, like, relax. Like, because okay, even like, okay, you have to. The size has to come into play. Sure, the skill. Okay, you can argue. Let's say hypothetically, if Canelo was like a much smaller fighter, and he happened to be in a division with Bud, I'm like, bro, Bud, like, that'd be a good fight. But Bud has like a ton of skills, But the fact that Canelo is so much bigger, like even hearing Canelo talk about,
I know, but the skills I think would be so equal. I think Canelo's more skilled, but like, even if you want to say like they're both like at the same height, at the same size, their skills would probably at best would be comparable.
Yeah.
But
and if okay, at that point, like, say they were in the same size, Shakur saying that wouldn't seem as outlandish, because then you would expect him to be like,
yeah, because at that point it becomes 50. At that point, it becomes a 50-50 fight.
And it's plausible that they would fight because they'd be in a similar, But the fact that Canelo's so much bigger, it's like, dude, like, I've heard Canelo say that if he would have gotten a rematch with Floyd years after, when he was like in his prime, just size wise, he was like, dude, I would have like destroyed Floyd's shoulders. I'm just a much bigger, stronger fighter than I was when I was 23.
I agree with that.
So I'm like if Canelo looking at Crawford, he's thinking like, dude, Bud's a good fighter, but I would like break something in him if we were to fight at the weight that I'm at and the strength that I have.
It reminded me when what's his name, when Golovkin was first coming up, there was this idea where Floyd wanted to fight one more guy. And Floyd had thrown out this idea that if Golovkin was willing to go down to 154, he would fight Golovkin. And I remember somebody asking, like, do you think Golovkin would do it? And I'm like, yeah, of course he could. Yeah, yes. Of course he would do it. And I can't remember who asked me, but they asked me, um, who would win? And I said, well, Golovkin would win. Golovkin is huge compared to Floyd. And that
Yeah.
was like old Floyd, that was older Floyd. Like
Right.
Golovkin would eat up all of his punches. Golovkin, he would be fighting an older fighter in Golovkin who's fought a lot, who's not going to be afraid to get hit in the face, who's not going to be intimidated by the movement, who's just going to keep on coming, keep on coming. And he's going to have in front of him a better, bigger Marcos Maidana.
Right.
And he would lose. He would lose just because eventually size matters in boxing or in combat sports in general. It matters.
Yeah.
And so skills can like buy you some time. And if you're super, super skilled, maybe you're able to do something. But
right.
You side in the Canelo versus Kovalev fight. Canelo was like biding his time, biding his time, biding his time because he knew, even though this is an older Kovalev, I can't swim in these waters like that. And he had to like methodically chop him down until he was able to bring him down. But Canelo wasn't standing in front of him, letting him tee off on him like he was versus like Golovkin.
Right.
Because they would have like it would have been a very different story. And that's what he tried to do with Kovalev, which I maintain that was the mistake. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was crazy when Stevenson said that. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you think of the pound for pound stuff? That now he's considered the number one guy pound for pound.
I mean, I see the argument for it where I'm like, he's very talented. Like now he's undisputed at two weights. Um, but the thing that I can respect when other guys bring this up is like, well, Usyk was undisputed at cruiser, and then he went and beat Joshua. He's been fighting at heavyweight. Inoue,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, another great champion. So I'm like, there are other candidates that if people were to name them as number one on the pound for pound, I'd be like, I can see that, I can respect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm like, it doesn't sound like outlandish, where I'm like, oh yeah, like, but like, now he's getting the shine, and he fought a big fight and he delivered, and it's like, okay. But I also do think, going back to Canelo a little bit, I think Canelo at this point is in like a lose-lose situation where no matter what Canelo does, um, I don't think people would put him pound for pound since he's already like undisputed at 168. Because if he were to beat Benavidez, right? I say because that's like the big boogeyman that people like have set up for him, right? Oh, you won't fight Benavidez.
Yeah.
Let's say he beats Benavidez. I'm like, well, in the grand scheme of things, that's just a title defense. He was just a contender. It's not like he went and beat another champion, or Canelo would have to like go undisputed at like 175 to get like the kind of hype again to be
That's
number one pound for pound.
ridiculous.
Because guys were, even when Canelo was like taking that division by storm, some guys still didn't want to put him number one pound for pound.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad. But yeah, I'm cool with Bud, the pound for pound stuff. What tickled me a little bit, and it's funny because like I'm not even like a big like Floyd guy, but they were like, "Yo, dude, like already better than Floyd," and I'm like, let's hold on, like because
Or,
Floyd, as much
or
as I
this
didn't like
idea
Floyd
that
when he was fighting, because he was like that dude was fighting everybody. You know what I mean?
yeah.
At all those weights too. So
Or this
also,
idea
didn't Floyd start at a like? Didn't he start even lighter than Bud started?
yeah.
Like wasn't Floyd at like 130, 135?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think Bud was at like 140, right? When he started.
Yeah. Well, this idea,
So
well, even this idea that he would have competed with the Four Kings,
uh
and you're just like,
I just shake my head. I'm like,
He's like, I don't know,
nah.
man. Like, I like Crawford. I've liked Crawford a really long time, but
Yeah,
that resume is not as good as you think.
yeah,
And there's names, but like that's one of the things that's like tough about if when you just look at somebody's resume and you don't know when they fought them, the conditions and all that. Because like you look and you're like, oh man, he fought Kell Brook. You're like, yeah, but he fought Kell Brook when Kell Brook was no longer Kell Brook. And not that Kell Brook was
right,
gonna beat him, but let's not act like he fought like real Kell Brook. And then it's like, oh, he
right.
fought Amir Khan. Yeah, but it wasn't like Amir Khan. Like this is like I'm
Kamir Khan
cashing.
had already been ran through by like
Yeah, like I'm trying to
yeah.
like cash in checks, and I think that's the part that's like when you look at his
It's off putting. You're like, like
resume, you're
yeah,
like, well, the best name on here is Errol Spence, and that came at 35.
yeah.
So the four kings were fighting each other, and
Fighting each other multiple times. Yeah,
so yeah,
that's a
I
no for
thought
me,
that
dog.
was
Like
I was
yeah,
like you guys are crazy. You guys are
yeah.
crazy.
That's the danger of like the clickbaiting social media boxing page where they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like, do you think Crawford could? It's like, no, absolutely not.
Hmm. And for those
Yeah,
that don't know,
different.
the four kings: Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler, Hearn, and Duran, which were four of the greatest dudes to ever fight.
All
They
time
fought at the
greats,
same time in the same division. So that's
and
that's who.
they all fought each other. Yeah,
Yeah, that's who we're talking to. So when they say that those guys are that he could have fought with those guys, like with Roberto Duran and Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearn, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like that's like let's pump these brakes a little bit, please, because that's
and I
crazy.
don't think the question is like skill wise. It's honestly just like the durability and the desire to want to fight that often at that rate.
Mm-hmm.
Because like let's say you were to have like a one off fight with like Sugar Ray and and Bud. Like I think it's a good competitive fight. Like I'd be like, man, like
Yeah.
that's like an all time like like computer rigged fight where you're like, oh yeah,
Right.
But just like you said, just the fact that we've had to wait until Bud is 35 to get a big fight, it's like, dude, those guys weren't waiting years to fight each other. They fought each other like, and it sounds kind of corny, but it's like they fought each other for like, dude, like for pride and glory. Obviously, they're making millions of dollars, but it's like those guys wanted to fight because they wanted to prove that they were better than each other.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I just don't get that vibe from a lot of these fighters today. Like 99% of these fighters today just don't really have that kind of dog in them where they want to fight that often with their contemporaries in their weight. There's so much political stuff with like administration and clout chasing where it's like guys don't even really they're not about
Honestly,
that life anymore.
the only guy that I feel that is about that life is Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
He's the only one, and obviously, because even Canelo, I think Canelo's such a big star that it has to be about business. But in terms of like the young dudes, I think the only one that I would even say like, oh yeah, I think this guy would fight anybody and everybody is him. Because everybody else is about something else. Everybody else. And so
Yeah. You don't think Tank is getting there? Or too late for him because he's a little older than Shakur? Because he has waited a while. That's a valid criticism of Tank.
yeah, but I mean, Tank is I feel like we have to beg Tank to want to like
Yeah. No, I
if
hear you. I hear you.
if Ryan Garcia never like calls him out to the level that he called him out, does he ever even consider fighting Ryan Garcia, or does he continue to fight like couch potatoes? Because I think the only reason, and this is why I think Ryan should get some credit, where Ryan at least wanted that fight. He was
Right.
delusional. He didn't have a good. He didn't have a trainer with a interest in boxing. But at least he was like, "That's who I want. I want to fight. That's the fight I want." And if he doesn't push for that fight, because I never heard Tank being like, "Yeah, that's the guy I want next."
Right.
Because even Tank got into this whole like, "Oh well, I'd like to fight Crawford." Like, okay, dude, sure, sure. Like,
Right.
come on. Like, and I don't know. I'm not as big on the Tank train as a lot of people, just because I feel like he he reminds me of a of a calmer Adrian Broner,
Oh.
where he's really talented. When he gets in the ring, he's exciting, but he just wants to be rich and do dumb stuff out because he's Tank's
Yeah.
done a lot of dumb things off the ring,
Yeah.
and that's what he reminds me of. He reminds me of Adrian Broner with less of a personality,
Yeah.
and so it'd be great if that was Tank, but I just don't
Yeah.
see him pushing and demanding that he gets put into these situations. Because after the Garcia fight, if I'm Tank, I'm going on a stretch where I'm fighting nothing but big names. I'm just gonna rip through all these dudes that I think I could beat. Just bring them all. Just do it. And I just don't see that
Yeah.
happening. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. When did they fight again? When was that fight? Was that the Garcia? How long ago was that?
I was at a
Was that late
wedding
June?
late June. Yeah,
June?
yeah, yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Man. Yeah, you gotta think, yo, Tank, when's that next fight? Like, come on, bro.
Especially because it's not like he took a lot of damage.
Right, right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, that makes sense.
And the sad thing with Shakur is like, you said, he wants to fight everybody. The cool thing about the Four Kings is that they were all on the same page about wanting to fight. They were all like, yes, let's all, you know, give each other the smoke,
mm-hmm.
who's trying to catch the hands. And the problem with Shakur is that, like, you need the guy on the other side to want that too. So just the fact that no one else is matching that energy with Shakur, it's like, dang, then Shakur can't showcase, like, because you need a dance partner.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if like Devin Haney was like, oh hell yeah, let's get it on, like, but Haney's over here playing these games,
Mm-hmm.
deciding whether to move up, and it's like, well, do you want to fight or not? Yeah,
And I think the answer is no. I think the answer for everybody else is no, and I think that's um
it's a shame. It's a
yeah,
shame.
it's sad. It's sad to see that.
Yeah.
What do you think of Joshua and that whole thing? As Joshua was supposed to fight Dylan White. That thing that entire thing came apart. Um, what do you think of that?
I mean, at this point, it just kind of feels like Josh was just cashing the checks.
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean, okay, just the fact that like the last guy he fought, Franklin, right? When we were, I even brought it up to you. I was like, hey, what do you think? And you were like, you were like, you were very adamant. You're like, I'm done. Like the fighter known as Joshua, he exists only in my mind and heart, in my memory. Like that's, that guy's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of sad. Like now when I hear the name and like the fights, I'm just kind of like, oh, that's cool. Like nice.
Yeah.
And because like with the heavyweight, also, I mean, like with even with Fury playing these games, it's like, damn, remember when heavyweight boxing was hot for a cool minute? Like there were actual guys that could have fought, and now no one wants to fight each other. Or Josh was already been he's already attempted, didn't work out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Fury doesn't want to fight. Usyk's gonna
Yeah.
fight God knows who. And then Wilder and Ruiz are over here playing patty cake. And it's like, do I even really want to see that fight at this point? It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
pretty sad.
yeah, yeah. The heavyweight division is dead until somebody resurrects it.
Yeah, yeah, and it had a nice little run. Like, man, I remember when before anybody had fought anybody, we were like, well, what if Wilder fought Josh? Like, why don't they make that fight, Wilder and Joshua? Like, just for the sake of fun. But you over here messing with like Dillian White and Robert Helenius and Jermaine Franklin, and it's you want to keep fighting potatoes for
Yeah.
a couple $1,000,000. I mean, hey, you do you, but I will not be purchasing. I will not be tuning in.
Exactly.
Vaya con Dios, like so. Yeah. How do you feel? Because that used to be your guy. You were on the train. You know.
I feel like AJ is was a guy that had other potential. AJ had all the other makings of what could have been a super duper star in the heavyweight division. I honestly just want him to fight Wilder. I'm with you. Like, just make that fight happen. So what? There's no belts. Just make it happen. Like, it's gonna be fun. People are gonna buy it. You're gonna make your money. You're gonna be able to sell it. And I'm
You can
at the
retire after that.
yeah, yeah, you could retire with that. Like, I'm at the point where I just want to see good fights. I
Yeah.
just and I think that's one of we've talked about this before, but that's one of the things I like about the UFC. Like sometimes they'll make these fights because people want them and the fighters want them, and it just makes sense. May not have any significance
Yeah.
to a contender or any of that, but it's like, hey, you know what? This fight is good. This fight is good for everybody. So we're just gonna do it. Like when they had the baddest MFer belt.
Right. Yeah.
And it's
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
that people were hyped. People that like UFC and were into that storyline were like, yeah, that's good. And that's what this should be. Like it should be like, you know what? Like Fury obviously has lost his damn mind.
Like the will to live. Yeah. I don't know. Like just
And so, but I'd pay money to watch Wilder versus Joshua.
yeah.
I'd do that. It might we might get like a what was that? John Gotti versus oh my god, who was that dude from Boston? The white dude.
Mickey Ward.
Mickey Ward.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might get
Round
that
nine, is it round
version.
9 or round 10? Like it's like an all-time round that they had. Like they were
Yeah, and
just
it was
throwing
like
punches.
and both of those dudes were like at the later end of their career and they fought each other at the perfect time to produce that masterpiece, and that's what we might get. And I think that's the stuff that I'd like to see happen. But
Yeah.
because at this point, if you're Joshua, I mean, what are you really chasing? Like,
Yeah.
are you fighting Like, are you fighting Usyk again? Like, I don't, like, I don't
Like,
think
what are you
you.
working towards? What's the
Yeah, like,
like,
what's the end goal
what's
for
the end
this?
result here?
So I
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna fight Usyk. Well, I mean, I guess maybe if he refuses to fight anybody, maybe. Um, so I don't
Do
know.
you think another route? Do you think what he's doing is I mean, obviously we're looking at it from the outside in, but and I'm not talking about another fighter that did this, now a trainer but a fighter. Do you think it's a little dangerous when guys do this where like they fight just for the sake of like maybe their heart isn't in it anymore and they're fighting obviously these guys the other guys he's fighting aren't like top guys
Hmm.
but the guy I'm talking about is uh Robert Garcia when he fought. I was watching his pod with Eric Morales
Yeah.
and Barrera, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were asking about how he got into boxing, and his upbringing. And he confessed, he's like, honestly, he's like, I only got into it because my dad really pushed me on it.
Mm.
Um, and he's like, I didn't actually enjoy boxing, like fighting. Like it was never really, I only did it to make my dad happy. Like he said, like when I won my first world title, I didn't feel like that excited about it. It's like my dad was ecstatic. My dad was, but I did it just because that's what we grew up on. My dad used to tell us to go run and train and all this stuff.
Hmm.
And so I think he said after he lost to Diego Corrales, he was like, I already wanted out. And he was like 26 at the time, right? Really young.
Right.
And then I think he fought one more fight that he said, he's like, the next fight that I fought, I knew I wasn't gonna win, and it was just for a payday. And I literally just fought for the payday, and then I retired. I think he
Hmm.
got married, had his kids, and then his dad got him in a training where he said, "Hey, Mijo, like come, why don't you come by the gym, show these youngsters how to throw the punches right, blah blah." And he actually fell in love with coaching. He fell in love with training guys,
Yeah.
and now he's the trainer that he is today. But he said even when he was fighting, he's like, "Dude, I never really actually wanted to do it." So when I see Joshua, he might have an end goal. I don't know, but if he's fighting guys like this, sometimes I think I'm like, is it worth it? Like, do they actually like Because it's like if your heart isn't in it, it's like, dude, like guys get hurt in there. You're talking about like like concussions, trauma, like head trauma. And it's like I don't know if he's married or has kids, but it's like unless he's just fighting guys straight up that he knows he can like demolish easily. But still,
Mm.
I figure that's gotta cross your mind if you're a little bit not. He's not old, but once you're in your 30s, it's like, dude, it's gotta suck getting hit in the face and having to get up and train. And if your heart isn't in it, then it's like, should you really be doing it at that high of a level against other guys like that?
Yeah. It probably comes down to some very simple like identity, like this is what you've done since you were X amount, and you're just like, I don't know how to do anything else.
Yeah,
And it's just like one of those things like there's a saying in sports like the game, you don't retire from the game retires you. And
yeah,
it might just be one of those things where, and you'll see this with fighters a lot where they'll stay a fight or two or three extra. They're just like, yeah, you
right.
you could have avoided all that damage, but it it's just when that's all it's probably really hard to be told like, all right, go do something else.
Yeah, hang it up. Yeah.
So, but yeah, because I don't. Besides that, I just don't know what he's like. What is he looking? I don't know what the like. I don't. I mean, is he trying to become champion again? I don't know. Like, is there a real roadmap for that?
Yeah.
So,
Dude, it's like Mexican dads or grandpas. They just don't know when to stop working. Like I have a homie. Oh, okay,
yeah,
Aaron. You know my friend Aaron, right?
yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
to my homie.
Aaron, shout out to Aaron.
Okay, you know, bro, Aaron's grandfather, like
Hmm.
this dude's elderly. I don't know
Yeah.
how old he's, but I think he's in his 70s. And I've asked Aaron about it, and I'm like I stayed at his house once,
Right.
and he's like, oh, just the heads up, like my grandpa's gonna get up early to go to work, and I was like, wait, why? And he's like, dude, that's just what he does. Like he doesn't want to do anything else. He's
Mm,
just, and this is like on a Saturday.
yeah.
Like he will get up and just like he'll do like the landscaping thing, and it's just like that's all he knows. Same thing with my dad, dude. My dad on his day off, like he was up at like 7,
Yeah.
like doing like the gardening, and I'm like, bro, for what? Like you don't want to wake up at like 9 and do that, But it's like it's just like you said, it's like their identity. It's what they know how to do, and they're like, I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's kind of like what happened with, remember the Penn State coach Joe Paterno,
Oh yeah,
and it was like that whole scandal at Penn State, and he loses his job, and he died like not so much long after that, and it was almost like being the Penn State football coach gave him purpose.
like the
Obviously,
will
this
to
is
live. Yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah,
and not that Joshua's gonna die after he retires, but
yeah, yeah,
it's it's probably the only thing that kind of makes sense
yeah.
because if Joshua, because we know how this works, somebody retires and we're just gonna talk about the good stuff.
Right,
That's it. So if Joshua retires now, he retires as what, like the second best heavyweight in British history?
right. Behind
He re-
Lennox, I'm assuming.
or third, I guess he would have to put him third
Oh,
behind
Fury, right?
behind let you go Lennox, Fury, Joshua. But he's in
Yeah.
like in the conversation as one of the greatest
Right,
British
right. Yeah, yeah.
boxers of all
He's
time.
up there. Yeah. He's
Um,
no
Olympic winner, like a world super, like so. It's not like
iconic, dude.
yeah,
Iconic,
like he's iconic in in Britain. So it's just weird that he, from that standpoint, that he would feel like I got more to prove. But who knows?
Yeah.
Hanging up, Joshua. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your millions.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All right. What about Inoue?
So Ino is good. Yeah. uh,
He's doing great. Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
um, he had, I think, against Fulton, he had his toughest opponent that I could think of. No, 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 Nair. What am I doing? Nonito
Doing
no
hair.
Nair. Yeah, that was a great fight. Um, but I thought he looked really good. I thought he did exactly what he was gonna do. What we thought he was gonna do against Fulton. Um, he's just he is just unbelievable. And I think it's something about watching like these like super small dudes fight, that because they're so small and they're able to move and land punches at a rapid pace, that you're just like, bro, like this is crazy. This is like this is next level type of stuff. So um I wish he fought in the US more.
Yeah.
I do wish that, but
Was this at
he's
was
amazing.
this 126? The weight?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So are we okay in the grand scope? Are we thinking he's moving up a fight with like
No, it was at
Valdez or
122. Sorry,
oh,
122.
122? Okay. Okay. But 126 is the next, that'd be the next
Yeah.
division, right? And
Hmm.
then 130. How far do you okay with the little guys? I feel like with the little guys, the weight is a little bit more you can try to move around a little more because the jumps in weight aren't as big, right?
Yeah.
How far do you think his ability and his power transcends? Like how do you hypothetically, how do you think a fight with him and Valdez goes down?
Okay, so he's 30.
Anyway, 30.
Yeah, he's 30. Oh, I think he schools Valdez. But I mean, this is assuming like what we're seeing at 122 just
it carries over, right? Assuming it
yeah,
carries over.
that's all
Yeah.
that's all I'm doing. I'm just
Right.
you're at this way, okay, so now you're here.
Yeah.
Because Valdez fights at what wait what is he? Like
130.
130.
Right? Yeah, when he fought Shakur
Yeah.
130.
Yeah, I don't know if he goes up like that. Because he's 30, he's 30 years old. How much you think he goes all the way to 130?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 8 pounds. Like, do you think, like, is it that big of a stretch when they're that small? Like,
Well, I'm just looking at his age. So he's like super bantamweight right now. He's at 122.
yeah, yeah.
So he would bypass featherweight into super featherweight. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's conceivable.
That's what I'm saying. Because I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because when they're that small, they have to be able to. I mean, look at Manny. Obviously, Manny's supernatural because he went through 8 weight classes. But even like Canelo, right, fighting 154, 160, 168, 175. It's
Yeah.
like that's like a huge span. So I'm thinking 122 to 130. It's not like outrageous, Even if he is 30, if he was like 35, I'd be like, hey, bro, calm down, like go home and, see the wife and raise the kids. But at 30, he's still got a little bit of time left. And he's one of those guys that I like his power kind of overshadows his boxing ability.
Which
And
would
I
be
think is and kind of like Tank, how Tank is known as like a knockout guy, but Tank has, good boxing IQ.
right.
And I think anyway, the way he looked against Fulton, I was like, yeah, he's got the power, but he like, man, he was fighting well as far as like his technique and his skills against Fulton. Because Fulton did look like the faster, crisper guy, but it's like it was almost like, it was just like super sure of himself the way he was throwing his jab. I was like, dude, this guy's
Yeah.
landing heavy shots and he's super confident in
Right.
the way he's throwing them. Yeah, how far does he take this? And who else is there to fight at 122? Like, who are some of the other guys?
Well, I think the biggest he goes is 130. I don't see him going to 135. I think 130 is where he stops.
Bro, I got it. Inoue and Loma, 130. Make it happen.
God, that would be so amazing.
Dude,
That would be incredible. That
who's the
would be
promoter that he's under? Give me a job. I'll make these
they're
fights, bro.
they're both under Top Rank. They're both
Come
Barbaro.
on, man. Top Rank, holler at me. Let's
That
talk.
would be like one of those like hardcore type of fights. Like it wouldn't be for the casuals. It'd be for
I
for
know.
the
Also, like, okay, like just like
for the super
right off the bat,
passionate.
the countries they're in, right? It's like, bro, Americans would not be watching this fight. It's like they
Yeah.
wouldn't even know who you guys are.
It's like the Rams the Rams and Patriots Super Bowl, the one where
Oh, it's like all defense, like
it
hardly
was
any
so
touchdowns.
it was one of those Super Bowl like if it was for like the diehard Super Bowl like football fans, they loved it, but
Right.
all the casuals like thought it was like the most boring
Oh,
Super
this is
Bowl ever.
boring. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like if you like love football, you were like, wow, this is
Right.
Bill Belichick just like pantsed
If
Sean
you like
McVay in
played
front of
collegiate ball or
everybody.
like coach football, you're like, this is great. Look at these guys going at it. Like,
Yeah. Like it was just like a coaching clinic. Like Belichick was just pantsing McVay and just like
yeah.
giving him a wedgie. I enjoyed it from that standpoint personally.
Oh, of
But
course, of course.
but That's what this fight would be. This fight would be such
It's
a
like a deep cut. Like
different.
immediately there's deep cut. It's a deep cut boxing match. Like
Exactly. You and
you
I
know,
would probably be the two people in the United States watching it, and then
I
like a
yeah.
few couple hundred and a few couple hundred watching it in Japan and stuff like that. It'd be funny.
Yeah. That'd be a good fight. Okay, because the whole thing with Loma too is that like a criticism I've seen online is that at 135, it just like it his boxing skill just didn't like translate as
It's
well as maybe he thought he was
it's too much
because
weight
he's
for
very
him.
small. Yeah. So hey, Loma, your little heart was broken after that Haney fight. Go give Inoue that work,
Yeah.
or at least attempt. But yeah, no, that'd be a good fight.
Right.
Why is no one? Come on, man. I can't be the only one that has thought of this.
I think because Inoue is unwilling to move up. I think that's probably it. Because that fight makes too much sense financially, but it's probably one of those things that he doesn't want it because he doesn't want to move up. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where like, okay, because they call him like the monster, right? He's one of the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And then these guys get pissed when they're just not given that credit. Well, it's like, hey, man, if you want to continue to be the monster, you got to do monster things. Make that monster leap and make that monster fight. How about that? Yeah.
Not only that, but you kind of have to fight in America a little more.
Yeah.
His last fight was like on a Tuesday, like at 3 a.m.
Yeah. It was like in the afternoon. It's like, who's watching this right now?
It was like, bro, like I got off of Starbucks like at 2:30, and I'm like,
I'm at work when you're fighting.
I'm gonna watch it, but like this isn't optimal. Like this isn't the World Cup, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Like you're in the drive-thru having someone their coffee and you're like, oh, dude, all right, what round is it? Like, yeah.
How's your morning?
I'm gonna take my 10 and finish off this fight, and it's like, okay, yeah. Catch me in the parking lot, sitting in my car watching the fight.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense why
That's like when remember when
he's fighting over there.
God, when fights don't happen on Saturdays, I'm like, dude, what do you like? Didn't Delfimo like fight like on a Sunday or something?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, dude, who's gonna like? Come on, man. Saturday's prime time. What are you doing?
I have a little cousin who loves Jake Paul, and he was one of Jake Paul's like earlier fights when he fought on a Sunday, and he would ask her about Jake Paul. What do you think of Jake Paul? And I was like, he's a clown. He's not a real boxer. And so I forget who he fought, but he fought on a Sunday. He's like, you know what's the fight? I'm like, no,
yeah.
I refuse to give him my money. And he's like, why? I'm like, first of all, if he was a real fighter, he wouldn't fight on a Sunday. Everybody knows that Sunday's for football and church. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
On a Sunday? Like, what are you doing?
And like, family dinner.
What is that? And WWE has their pay-per-views on a Sunday. And obviously he didn't like that I was making fun of his boy.
He didn't take well to it, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like when I was looking at this boxing schedule, I was like, on a Tuesday? Like what the hell is that? Like what is what? So yeah, he
do the Japanese like not believe in weekends? I'm like, what's what's going on here, man? Yeah.
It just made no sense at all. Like you're trying to sell him to an American audience, and you're gonna have his fight at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Like that's one way to never.
Like you have to compete with like pint night at the local bars. They're gonna be there.
Like, come on, like it just made zero sense. Like even European soccer, like will stagger their games where at least it's like lunchtime in the US where you can watch the big games. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Oh my gosh, no way. That's funny, man.
But yeah, I mean,
Oh,
he's good. I mean, I just hope he fights more in the U.S.
yeah,
That'd be good.
yeah. You want to talk some soccer? Or?
Let's do it. You have
Okay.
some things you want to get off your chest or
Yeah,
questions.
yeah. Just question. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
we've already. First of all, shout out to Chaquito, right? Santi.
Yeah, Santi. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the boy. Got thrown to the game with the Gold Cup final. A few minutes left.
Mhm.
Scores the winning goal. Bro, we screamed at our house. I was over here like waving like a little towel. I was like, yes, like
Bro, that was such a great moment, bro. So
yeah, that
amazing.
was that was great. Um, but okay, but on to the main thing. So Messi coming to the
Messi.
US,
Yes.
the MLS.
Hmm.
He's in Miami. He's doing his thing. He went shopping for groceries and he wasn't, attacked or swarmed.
Yeah.
What a if you were like what a picture, what an idea of American soccer. It gives off like a strong idea of what it's like here, where the biggest figure in football and soccer can go shopping for groceries in this
Well, the
country.
second biggest. Come on. What are we doing here? Give
Oh, okay, Ronaldo. Okay, no,
give
yeah,
give respect to my boy. Come on.
of course, of course, of course, of course. I'd love for you to
But
meet
I
my neighbor. My neighbor is like a big Messi guy, and I
yeah.
was poking at him. I was like, "Well, what about Ronaldo?" And he was fired up, and I was like, "All right, bro, calm down.
Oh my
I'm not really
god.
that into soccer."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was at that point. I was just poking at him to poke at him to get him pissed off, to get him riled up, you know. But dude, okay, like this man said he cried when Messi won. Argentina won the World Cup,
No god.
and
Is
I'm
he
like, calm down, bro.
Mexican?
He is. That's the worst part. He
No,
is.
tell that guy that
Yeah,
guy's a
I know.
fraud.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So, but how big is this for the MLS? Because you walk European soccer, how soon before? Because I remember when Beckham came to Galaxy,
Yeah.
I went and saw him.
Yeah.
Um, and but Messi is an even bigger, better player, star.
Yes.
As far as the upward trajectory of like interest in soccer in the U.S., how big of a deal is this? Break this down for someone that's maybe not into soccer, like just the average American,
Yeah.
person that watches sports. Is this going to change the fabric of soccer in the U.S. and little kids that are watching, MLS, if there are any, or does it not
Mm,
make that big of a splash?
so it's both. So Messi coming here is a big deal because when Beckham came, Beckham was cooked. And when he came, there was no secret he came for business. It wasn't it wasn't a move because like, oh man, like I'm in a good place in my career. It was clearly he's gonna be an ambassador. He's gonna get people excited. He's a name people recognize. So he's coming here as a like glorified
Poster
spokesman
boy, yeah,
because he didn't play like all that much, but it was very strategic what they were doing. And then he like went back to Europe and finished his career in Europe. But um Messi, there is a component of like business because it's no secret they gave him just ownership stake of the team. Obviously, they bring him in here because they're gonna have the South American, the version of the Gold Cup for North America. They're having it for South America here in the U.S. Messi's gonna
right.
play in that, so there's like a whole like advertising, back to that. But Messi coming here is a huge deal because Messi is 35, I think. And Messi had options. Messi could have gone back to Barcelona, and a few other English teams. He also could have gone um to Saudi Arabia, made
Arabia, yeah,
a lot of money there. So him coming here is a big deal because he is a big active name. Not like and that's where it's different than Beckham, because Beckham was a big name, but not like athletically. So it'd be like
Beckham was no longer a force when he came over. Like,
right. So it'd be like it was like when the Seahawks got, or even like the Cardinals, when the Cardinals signed Emmitt Smith.
Right.
And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, it is Emmitt Smith, but it isn't Emmitt Smith.
It wasn't like Dallas with the big O-line Emmitt Smith.
Exactly. It was like, yeah, you got, you're going to sell jerseys. People are going to, it's a name.
People are going to buy tickets to go and see Emmitt Smith,
Yeah, exactly. But you're not getting like prime Emmitt Smith, where he's going to carry the ball 300 times a game. That's not the 300
breaking the
times
all-time rushing record.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's not it. So, and that's what Beckham was to the MLS. What Messi is, it's like Brady going to Tampa Bay.
To the Bucks. Yeah.
It's like, he's got something to prove. Although less than that in the storylines, but in that sense, like Brady can still play. It's not like he's like, a shell of himself.
Yeah.
Like he's still Brady. This is still Messi. So it's gonna garner a lot of attention because Americans like to watch the best. And I think that's why soccer has never taken off in this country. It's not because soccer it's boring, but because if you look at the sports leagues and you look at the what gets attention in America is the best. So the best basketball league is in America, so that's why the NBA is huge. The best football league is in America, so that's why the NFL gets a lot of attention. The best baseball league in the world is in the United States. That's why MLB gets all the attention.
Right.
And MLS, even though there's a lot of money being pumped in, even though they'll bring in, Chicharito and Carlos Vela, and they've had their big names, it's just not the best league, and everybody knows it. So if you have the option to invest money in jerseys and gear and TV time to watch the top European teams, or to watch like your local MLS team, it's no competition.
Right.
Messi, what he does though is he at least now has a guy. He brings to the MLS a sense of this is a real league because a real guy chose to come here. So he kind of validates it. So it's going to be really good for the stadiums. People are going to go because Messi's in my town. I want to go watch Messi. And you've seen it now, like with the ticket prices to go see Inter Miami, they're crazy. But in terms of like, is the MLS going to catch up to baseball? No, because it's still not the league it is.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a big deal, like it is a big deal that he at this moment in his career, when he's still going to play, where he's still going to play for Argentina, it's a big deal that he chose the MLS.
Gotcha. Okay. Since I ruffled a little feather, I'm going to go ahead and, okay, so the GOAT debate, because when I brought up Messi, with my, my homie, right, and then I brought up Ronaldo, I brought up other guys too.
Yeah.
I brought up like Pelé, Maradona.
Yeah.
And, since I'm not a big soccer guy, I wasn't well versed with like the numbers and like the facts and whatnot. But I was throwing jabs just to throw jabs. I was like, well, what about this? What about that? I was like, because my homie's argument was like, well, Messi has like, the great established like European career, right? Like all like is it the Ballon d'Oro, right? Like he has like 7 of them or something. Yep. Okay, Ronaldo has 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's comparable, but then he was like, well, but then Messi got his World Cup, and I was like, well, but Pelé had like 3 World Cups, and he's like, oh well, but Pelé didn't play in Europe, and so I tried looking into the Pelé thing, and Pelé like spent most of his life playing in Brazil, and then near the end of his career played a little bit in the U.S. near the end,
yeah,
kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, if you were in my shoes when I was like throwing those jabs, what are the arguments you would bring up? Like preach, rap the good word.
For Messi, for
Where would
Ronaldo,
you go?
for Ronaldo,
yeah, just in
or
general,
or for anybody else?
For anybody against Messi.
So you would do. You can do Maradona. I think Maradona is a better argument than Pelé because Pelé was given offers to go play in Europe and he never did. And one of the sneaky Pelé's looked at kind of like
what could have been.
No, not even. He's like viewed as like the guy who played in a time where it was like super easy.
Okay,
where the
yeah, that
rules
was
were different.
said,
And it was like, okay, but and he every time he was offered to go to Europe, he never took it. And he had a really good World Cup, but there was also like moments against stiffer competition where he would like disappear. But Pelé by all accounts is up there. But I think if you're gonna go for a GOAT debate in terms of like a complete career, I would do Maradona, who Maradona has a World Cup. He never he doesn't have a Champions League, but he won a lot. He was very instrumental. And then Ronaldo to me is the greatest just because you take a guy has scored the most goals in history. He's won everything there is to win. And when it comes to World Cups are interesting because we have to remember not everybody has won a World Cup. So not every country is demanded to win one. Messi is Argentina, and Argentina has won the World Cup. So there is an establishment for him to win. Where Ronaldo, when Portugal's entire existence, they have 2 international cups, 2 international trophies, and that's it. Both of them won by Ronaldo. You get a guy who's won everywhere. He started in Portugal, dominated in Portugal. He goes to England, the hardest league in the world. He dominated in England, to the point where he won a Ballon d'Or in England when Messi was starting to like climb the ranks. And at the time, Messi was his teammate was Ronaldinho. And Ronaldinho is the greatest player I've ever seen. Like, he is the greatest player I've ever seen. His peak, his best is the best I've ever seen. He's not the GOAT because he did it for so little. But I have to be honest with myself, I've never seen anybody as good as that guy dominate a field the way he dominated the field. And during the time, Messi was under him. Messi played on that team. And you know what nobody was ever saying? Messi is better than Ronaldinho. But you know what arguments were being had? Is Ronaldo better than Ronaldinho? And everywhere Ronaldo's gone, every league he's gone, he's won, he's succeeded. And Messi stayed in the same system, doing the same thing, having a system built around him. And whenever it didn't work, it was always everybody else's fault but him. Ronaldo, you put him with any type of team and he makes it work and he wins. And so to me, in terms of winning, in terms of being the best player on the team at all times, he is the greatest of all time. Because for those reasons. And so when you throw out the World Cup and you say, well, at least Messi has a World Cup. Okay, yeah, but Argentina has players and a team for that. You're talking about a country that has a history of winning international cups, where Portugal never won anything at the international level until Ronaldo showed up. And so that's where I think that kind of has to be established. It's kind of like it's kind of like one what would be like a good example? It's like one Super Bowl ring, like the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers won that championship.
Right.
That one championship by the Cavaliers is as much as the five titles or the 4 titles that Golden State has won. To those cities.
Right. Yeah.
Because to Cleveland, they've never won. They never had anything like that. So to them, Cleveland could not win for another 60 years. But they'll be like, you know what? But we have one. We have this one. But to like the Lakers, for example, if they go 60 years without winning one, it is like a travesty. And that's the difference. So when you say like Messi has won the World Cup, yeah, but there is a history of them winning it. So them not winning it for so long and Messi falling short was always a bigger fail because this national team is used to that. Ronaldo winning 2 international trophies is a huge deal because they've never won anything.
They've never done that. Right.
So he's the one that's brought that expectation to Portugal that they've never had. And that's why like that World Cup thing is so fluky because it's like, well, it's so different. It's Cleveland can say, well, we won a title, and in 10 years they'll still be like, hey, we won a title. But if the Lakers in 10 years haven't won a title, we can't be like, well, at least we won the bubble title, because it just doesn't have the same thing because the history is different.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Good. You just gave me a lot of ammunition. Like I'm gonna pull these out. Yeah, this is great. Oh, fantastic. Okay.
I'm not to blame for any altercations you may or may not have with your neighbor.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I wasn't in my element. If a youngster wanted to talk like NFL quarterback, like if someone were to come and say like, oh, I think Peyton Manning, I'm like, let's go. I can reference things. I have all the data. Let's do it,
Yeah.
But in soccer, I was just kind of like, pickling the beast. Like, well, what about this? What about that? Okay, another question too, just because, because both Ronaldo and Messi, in soccer, it's a thing where like you can start at like 17 and be playing like in the best league, especially in Europe, right? If you're that guy, like Messi at 17 was playing, you said he was playing under Ronaldinho,
Yeah.
Mbappe, where does Mbappe land in all this, like further down the road? Is he a guy that rivals that legacy or like another potential GOAT, or is he not on the same level, same class? Because Mbappe, like I'm gonna be honest, I'd always see like tweeting about him, but like I said, I don't watch soccer. So I had never seen him play until this last World Cup. Even in the last World Cup when he was a youngster, I didn't watch the World Cup at all.
Yeah.
But this last one, 2022, is where I actually sat down and watched the game with France, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's fast. Like, he's like pretty freaking good. Yeah, how does he match up as young, but is he on
He's
the path, or is he already over him no matter how much he wins? Like, because how old is he now? What, 22, 23?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He's on the path, but he's Mahomes. He's Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of those things that because Messi Ronaldo is one of those things that neither person like if I argue for, Ronaldo and somebody argues for Messi, this is one of those things that it doesn't matter what anybody says, that's my stance. And the same for, the Messi people. And this would be like if there was two Bradys. Because this isn't even Manning versus Brady because Brady won significantly more.
Right.
Like, and so to put into like perspective, like when Barcelona and Messi were at the peak of their powers, Cristiano Ronaldo in Real Madrid won 4 of 5 Champions League trophies, which is the most important competition in all of Europe for clubs. So it'd be like if there was like another Tom Brady and there's 2 Tom Bradys and one of them plays for the Pats and the other one plays for the Jets. It'd be like if Peyton Manning's resume was like Tom Brady's, like close. Like he has like 5 Super Bowls and they're both good. And it'd be like in the middle of Peyton Manning's like prime where he has the best team and everybody's like, man, this guy's the best and this guy's team is the best and nobody can be. It'd be like if in that span of 6 years where Peyton Manning's teams were considered the greatest, Brady rattles off 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. And that's what that is to me. So when people are like, oh, well, Messi did this, I'm like, bro, like my guy won 4 of 5 Champions Leagues.
Oh, so your argument is like Ronaldo like won more like head to head when they were actually in contention with each other in the same league.
They won the trophies that meant more at the time where Messi was considered at the peak. Right. So it's like, okay, man, when your team is at the peak, my guy won 4 of 5 Champions League trophies, 3 in a row. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
When everyone's saying you're at the peak, when everyone's saying this guy's the best, my guy went and rattled off 4 or 5. So sure, you can keep what the media says, but I know like my guy. So it'd be that. It'd be like if Brady wins 4 or 5 Super Bowls, 3 straight, and in the middle of that, people are like, "Oh man, this was the greatest. This was the greatest run for Peyton Manning. He had the greatest team. He broke a bunch of records." As a Pats fan, you'd be like, "But we won the Super Bowls. Like, what the hell? Like, what?
Right. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So like, what do I care how many? Like, what do I care how many touchdowns Peyton Manning threw? My guy won 3 straight Super Bowls, 4 or 5. Like,
that's also like the
that's what that is.
Because Peyton has how many league MVPs? What, like 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, I think Peyton has more. Yeah.
Yeah, Peyton has more, but then it's like, but Brady has 7 rings, like 7.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
He won. Yeah. Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Once again, more ammunition. Okay.
So, like, to the point where they call Cristiano Ronaldo Mr. Champions, because it's like his competition. He has the most goals there, the most, like, he's dominated that competition.
How many Champions Leagues has Messi won?
I think he has like 3 or 4, but they're like all spread out. Let me see.
Oh, gotcha.
And Ronaldo won it in 2 different countries. So it's, it's a whole, he won it with the with Real Madrid, everybody's like, oh well, of course he wins it there, but then he like wins it in
He defined the whole system thing.
So it's
he
like
went and went elsewhere.
Yeah, so it's like I don't.
Gotcha.
It wasn't the Spanish system. Like I play in England, I win it. I go to Spain, I win it.
So essentially, what you're telling me is Messi is Peyton Manning and Ronaldo's Tom Brady.
Yes.
Whereas
he has
he has three. Right. Because Messi, like the whole thing with like the argument here with like Manning fanboys is like his numbers like for a time because obviously Brady played a lot longer, right? But when they were like neck and neck and still playing together, the whole thing was that Peyton had the better individual stats and whatnot. But then it's like, well, but then Brady wins when it actually matters. He actually comes through in playoffs. He wins the big game. He has the big moments. Whereas Manning always struggled in the playoffs, would be one and done multiple times.
And that's happened
but he's
to
great.
Yeah, and that's happened to Messi a lot, where he disappears in the biggest games, in the biggest moments.
Good. Okay. I'm about to like you said, you're not responsible for the altercations. I will go looking for an altercation tomorrow. I will and be like, hey, compa, like I got a bone to pick with you. I was just talking to my friend about Messi and Ronaldo. Like, let's put all the cards on the table. Let's hash this out. Yeah.
Oh man.
Good. Okay. All right. Nice. Yeah, because even like I was even a little heated just because I don't like Argentina,
Yeah.
And so like just the fact that he told me like, because I got pissed when Sammy, my brother, wore a Messi jersey the day they beat Mexico. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, don't come in the house wearing that. Like this is blasphemy. And so my buddy, like, he's like, oh, I did the same thing. And I was just like, how dare you? Like, so I'm triggered. I'm out here. I'm out for blood, so.
Well, I support you.
Good. That was great. You just like I'm over here taking notes. I'm like, German, tell me more. Like, can you elaborate on that, please? What was that last part again? Okay, cool.
Oh man.
Thank you. Nice. All right. All right, that's a little soccer. Should we talk Oppenheimer? Are we ready for this?
Let's do it. Yeah. So have you seen it?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So this is like spoiler alert if you haven't watched it.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, you have no right to be pissed about spoilers because it's been out for a while.
Exactly.
You can fight me. We can take it outside.
Yeah.
I'll be like, dude, you just didn't go to the movies. That's not my fault,
It's only one of the biggest movies in America. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Get it together.
So,
yeah. No spoilers. If you haven't watched it, go watch it and then come back.
This is
listen to the end.
At this time of filming, this is your official spoiler alert. Spoilers are incoming. If you when you listen to this pod, if you get to this part, go ahead and pause it, go to the movies, watch the movie, come back, and then you can listen to us talk about this. So, okay. Oppenheimer.
So what'd you think?
I loved it. It was man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make this a little analogy.
Okay.
I remember the first time I saw one of Christopher Nolan's movies, and it was Batman Begins.
Oh, okay.
It was Christmas time, the year that whatever year Batman Begins came out, Christian Bale. And at the time I had seen little bits of like Michael Keaton's Batman, like with like Tim Burton.
Right.
And which are good movies, like they're good, but I just didn't like gravitate to them as much. I don't know if I was just too young when I'd seen them, but when I saw Batman Begins, I was like, oh, this is I really like this Batman movie. Like it's pretty cool. Then the Dark Knight comes out, Dark Knight Rises. And Christopher Nolan was known as like the Batman trilogy guy. I was like, damn, this guy, he made some good movies. And I remember they at the time they whoever he was like working with, but they said, oh, Christopher Nolan has his next movie idea. It's gonna be about like space travel, like space and time travel, which came out to be Interstellar, right?
Right.
And I remember when they released that little snippet about what his movie was gonna be about, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of different. That's not at all like Batman. I thought he was just gonna, write off,
It's not at
like
all
making
like
comic book
Batman.
movies,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's all I knew.
Right, right,
And I
right.
was thinking like, that's lame. How is he gonna make, like a movie about space? Like, I was like, I don't know. I wasn't sold, and I
Hmm.
didn't see Interstellar when it came out at the time. I didn't see it then, and watched it later, and then I was like, whoa, okay. So this guy's in a whole different realm. And then obviously Christopher Nolan would come out and say things like, um, I don't want to be like the comic book superhero guy. I want to make
Mm,
other kinds of movies.
yeah,
But it just goes to show you those Batman movies were grounded in a reality that kind of transcended kind of the goofy comic book kind of vibe,
yeah, yeah.
where it was kind of plausible. You can believe, oh yeah, maybe a billionaire could be this guy jumping on rooftops, beating up criminals. Um, and Heath Ledger's Joker, dude,
Hmm.
to this day, one of the best performances I've ever seen. I was like, oh my gosh. To see where he's at now, whenever people come out with whenever Christopher Nolan comes out with his next project, whatever it's gonna be about, I'm always skeptical. I'm always like, oh, that's gonna be boring, or how's he gonna make that cool? How's he gonna. Um and when they said, oh, he's making a movie about, the bomb, like the atomic bomb, I was like, I mean, we know what happens. Like the whole thing was like, we know the story. We know what happened with the bombs.
Hmm.
And I thought, how is he gonna make it cool, right?
Yeah.
And time again, Christopher Nolan comes out with his movies and he just blows it out of the water. Where I'm over here eating my words. I'm like, dang, he made it interesting. He told the story well. He sold
Hmm.
it, and I'm
Yeah.
over here thinking he proved me wrong. I felt the same way about Bill Belichick when he would make certain decisions throughout the Patriots span.
Feel politic.
I remember there were times where he would cut certain players, he would cut
Yeah.
certain role guys, and I'm thinking, dang, was that the
Mm.
best move? Like I remember one, they got rid of like Logan Mankins, like one of their O line guys, one of their
Yeah, yeah,
tried and
yeah.
true guys, Brady. And me as an O line player, I was like, dang, I don't know if that's a good move. Like that's a guy that's watched, over Brady and protected him on the front. And I'm like, I don't know, that maybe Bill's tripping. I don't know. And then at one point they got rid of what's his name? Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins was like
Yeah.
killing it with the Pats. He was a
Right.
linebacker.
Hmm.
Overnight, boom. He was 8-0 with the Pats. The next morning, he was 0-8 with the Cleveland Browns. And I thought, bro, why are you sending our play? Like, what does Bill know that we don't know?
Yeah.
And time again, boom, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. Break. So every time I doubted Bill, the decisions, I'd be like, you know what? He was right. That guy
Hmm.
ended up being not too hot with the next team. Wes Welker, when they got rid of Wes Welker, I was like, dude, Wes is the guy. But here comes Edelman to take his spot, and then Walker had a good run with Manning later, but Walker wasn't the same. And then they got rid of like Stephon Gilmore too, and I was like, whoa, but it always ends up working out for Bill. And so with Christopher Nolan, I'm like, every time they come out with the plot for his movies, I'm always skeptical, and then he always delivers with a great product.
Hmm.
And this happened with Oppenheimer. I wasn't too stoked when they announced that, oh, it's going to be. I'm like, well, dude, I took history class. I know what's going to happen. But he showed us that it was not so much about what had happened, but how it happened and why it happened,
Yeah.
and the moving parts around the people at the time. Oppenheimer, the U.S. government, the Soviet Union, right? All these Germany, World War II, Hitler,
Right.
and so yeah, it was fantastic to see just the dialogue between the characters, and then the cast too. There were guys appearing in the movie where I was like, oh, this guy's in the movie. Like I had like Josh Peck was in the movie. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That was I think Casey Affleck. He was like one of the other like generals, and I was like, oh, Casey Affleck's in this movie. I was like, no way. So it just goes to show you some of these actors are willing to, because I think Josh Peck had like one line in the movie maybe, but some of these actors are willing to just take small roles just to work with him, just to be in
Yeah.
his movies. That's a testament to his dedication to his craft and his prowess
Right.
um as a director. So yeah, those are like my initial thoughts and on what I thought. So what about you?
Yeah, I loved it too. I thought it was incredible. Um, as soon as I think I saw like a TikTok commercial maybe on it, and I saw Killian Murphy, and I'm like, I'm in, because that's my guy. Uh, from Peaky Blinders and everything. So I was like, man, this guy, I'm in. I saw him with the hat. I'm like, okay, I can see him
Yeah.
being being Oppenheimer. So I went in there knowing the story, knowing about the guy, and to me, it was so amazing to see all the great acting because it was so well acted.
Yeah.
It was just a masterpiece when it came to that. So I know there's people that went in there and they thought it was boring because like if you went in there thinking there was just going to be like explosions everywhere, then you
Read the
went to
room, yeah.
see
Like that's
you
yeah.
went to see the wrong movie. And plus, like, do you not know Christopher Nolan? Like,
Yeah.
he's not that type of guy. So he's gonna tell a story, and that's what. And if there's gonna happens to be explosions, there's gonna be explosions, but he's there to tell you a story. Um, and so it was interesting because seeing how he maneuvered from scene to scene and from time frame to time frame, where
Right.
when it's like black and white, it's from the perspective of
Yeah.
somebody else, from the perspective of Robert Downey Jr.'s character Strauss.
Right. Strauss, yeah.
And then from when it's like color, it's the perspective of Oppenheimer. And so that was very interesting to see the contrast and how he was like blending and mixing in the scenes because they kind of kept you kind of got the whole picture of what was going on in this guy's life during the time of the creation of the bomb and then even the aftermath of it.
Right.
So that was really good. It was awesome to see um how he maneuvered that entire thing and Killian Murphy was just like incredible.
Oh, dude. Okay. I mean, I know they do this because it's like it's actors is what they do, but the accents and the way they manipulate their voices, right? Because
God, yeah.
like, okay, even Robert Downey Jr., right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I only know him as Iron Man. Like, it's like, I know he's done other movies, right? I've seen him in like
Yeah.
The Soloist with Jamie Foxx, Tropic Thunder, right? But the persona I get is like Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, cocky. So at first, I was thinking, going into it, I was like, am I gonna be able to see Robert Downey Jr. as anything other than Tony Stark?
Mm.
And the way he played Strauss's character, I was like, oh, he did it. Like he like I never once felt like it was I can hear Tony Stark. It's like he just changed his mannerisms, his voice, the way his inflection when he delivers the lines. I was like, oh, I didn't hear Tony at all, and I was like, ah. And the same thing with like Cillian Murphy, because like you said, like Peaky Blinders, or he was like
Mm-hmm.
Scarecrow in the Batman trilogy with
Yeah, he
Nolan,
was, yeah.
and he Irish, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way he like played Oppenheimer is totally different than how he played Scarecrow, as far as like even just the way he talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they present it so easily that that's like their normal speaking voice, but it's not, right? We know that it isn't. But
Yeah.
yeah, that blows my mind. I mean, it shouldn't surprise me because it's like, the same way like athletes work on their craft or like musicians, like actors can also, it's what they do, it's their job, But yeah, man, it was so cool seeing them transform themselves into these characters and to come together for this film. Um And then you mentioned the scenes, right? Like kind of the way he maneuvered, like like the editing,
Yeah.
the pacing, right? Going from black and white to then to color. Flashback versus like present day, like the interrogation type scenes at the end.
Yes, yeah.
Versus like what I mean? That was cool. And then even with the okay, and it's pretty cool how like it's indirect, but I mean obviously like it's about the bomb, right? And then when
Right.
the bomb finally does, when we see the explosion, right? The way he went from like when the bomb goes off, you just see like the visuals, and you're kind of just staring at it in awe. It's a complete silence, awe. You're in awe,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, he hit you with the sound of the bomb, and it was almost like a good jump scare in a horror movie where like you felt the impact
Yeah. It
once he
was silent
released
at
the impact.
first.
Yeah, and you're
And
wa-
you're
you're
just,
and you're
yeah.
thinking like, oh, all the lights, the flames, and you're kind of like, huh, and then out of nowhere it's like, and you're like, oh, like the bomb, it went off, like it's boom,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna that was great because it's like it's coming, but he still made it feel fresh when it happened,
Yeah.
when you experience them experiencing the bomb. And yeah, okay. Moving on to like another little thing within the movie, but um throughout the movie,
Mm-hmm.
okay, once they drop the bombs in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And Oppenheimer was, like kind of, he was feeling some type of way. You could tell he
Yes.
was, maybe a little bit regretful, sad.
Right.
At the time, I'm thinking like, bro, you knew going into it what they were gonna do, whether it was the Germans or the Japanese. Obviously, like his whole thing was like, well, Germany already surrendered, so there's no need.
Yeah.
But then the government was kind of just like, well, no, like Japan is still gonna be a thing, so we gotta flex, we gotta show them who's in charge, kind of deal.
Right.
And so when he was kind of sad and seeing the effects, I'm like, dude, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, and it's okay. Just like, have you seen that there's that meme with there's like the astronaut and he's pointing at Earth and he's like, oh, you mean like this, and this, and there's the other astronaut behind him with the gun, and it's like it's always been that way, and it's like, have you
Oh
seen that
yeah,
meme? You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
talking?
yeah.
Okay, so you know, not to venture too far into like politics, but like you're always going to think the government is doing something shady, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so, okay, because there was even a scene where I'm like, the character was joking, but I'm like, bro, he's not really joking. Matt Damon's character,
Yeah.
there's that scene where like they left the base, they left the lab in New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and Oppenheimer and his buddy went somewhere,
Yeah.
and Matt Damon's character was like, "You were instructed not to leave. Why did you leave?" Blah blah. And the other scientist was like, "Man, these work conditions suck." He's like, "You know what? Like, screw this. I'm out of the project. I want out. Bye.
Yeah.
See you guys later."
Right.
The guy leaves, and then Matt Damon's like, "It's fine. We'll just kill him. Like, we'll just." And in
Oh,
my mind, when he
yeah.
delivered that line, I was thinking, "Oh, like that makes sense. Like the government would." I'm not surprised. They would. They've always done that.
Yeah.
Assassination attempts. Yeah, of course. And then the general kind of laughed it off. He's like, "Nah, I'm just kidding." And I'm like, "Are you though?" Because like I get the vibe that like I just feel it in my soul that those kinds of actions wouldn't be out of reach
Well,
for a
especially for a
topic such
project
as.
like that, you know?
Yeah,
It's
that's what
like
I'm saying.
super classified that you're gonna let just one of the
Right.
scientists quit. Like, yeah, right. Come on.
Yeah, and then even that one other dude ended up being like a Soviet spy, like the other guy
Mm-hmm.
that joined the project.
Yeah.
So if I'm Oppenheimer, when you're like asked to do it, I'm just like, bro, there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes than what they're willing to tell
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah.
And I get that his whole thing was like, well, if I don't do it, someone else will do it. But it's like we all knew what their intentions were. I
Yeah.
don't know. Did we? I feel like we did, but still, like, like it's just. And I get that he was trying to, sure, if I don't innovate, somebody else will. If I don't work on this science, somebody else will. But I don't know. And even after the movie on social media, like I'm hearing people saying like, "Oh, don't watch Oppenheimer because, like, they're gonna make you feel like Oppenheimer's a relatable character, even though, like, he's somewhat responsible for, like the bombs being dropped." And I was like, well, like, he was a human being, you know.
I thought
I
that
gotta, I
argument was
gotta
so
believe.
stupid.
Yeah, it's like I gotta believe bro, he must have really felt bad after. And it's like, sure, I can sit here today, decades later and say, oh, bro, you know what they were gonna do with the bomb. But it's like, you got to think, a part of him had to have genuinely wanted to just be like, I'm doing this for science to, and also like to serve my country. But it's like, you know, anybody that made that bomb would have felt bad after,
Yeah, but I mean,
you know,
I push back a little bit because the alternative is the bomb gets landed on us. That's the alternative. If
yeah,
Oppenheimer doesn't figure it out first, and America doesn't get it first, and say the Germans get their hands on it, that bomb doesn't hit Hiroshima, it hits California.
like, right.
And I think that's where some of these like revisionist history type of comments from people where it's like, oh well, this movie supports this, and what happens to all the like, what, like our history is marked by wars. And the reason why we're able to be here and have the liberties we have in this country is because people fought wars. Now, are wars bloody and are they like nasty and ugly and awful? Yes. But unfortunately, that's the only way that we have been able to settle scores. So yeah, it sucks that a bunch of Japanese like had to die. But the alternative is that an atomic bomb gets thrown at us. And I don't think I'm controversial in saying this. I like that it was the opposite.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
I
not so
think
much saying that like they shouldn't have made the bomb, but just like paint. My problem is like when people want to paint Oppenheimer as like a terrible, terrible person,
no,
where it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, I
you
get
know what
you.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, and I'm referring to like the people who are like, oh, that like that movie, and I'm just like, bro, like you can't like judge yesterday's history with today. You can't. You can't judge it because by that logic, we were too rough on the Germans after World War II.
Right, and we have the benefit of like seeing everything that happened after, whereas like at the
Yes.
time, it's like, yeah, I see, yeah, it'd be like me, like like modern day boxers talking about like the competition with boxers. It's like, well, you've had the benefit of like the developments of everything since then
Mm-hmm.
at your disposal,
What it's
Yeah.
like I was reading on like the Mexican American War, and I was reading on how like the Americans wanted the land, Mexico didn't want to give up the land, which is like this side of Texas. And I was like reading on it, and as a Mexican you'll hear people like, oh, they stole our land, this was our land, like they're the immigrants and yada yada yada. And there is like a sense of that, but I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I love Mexico and I love being Mexican, but I'm kind of glad this land belongs to the US. because Mexico's a mess sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's why, as much as we love Mexico living in the US. And I think that's like after reading that, I was like, I don't know if that, like, I've never had that sentiment, but I'm like, man, like, I for sure don't have those feelings of like, this is, this, that, because the history of the world is the winners get the land. And it goes both ways. Mexico had to fight the Spaniards and the French for the land, and we won. And so it's our land, and we drove them out. And that's amazing, and that's awesome. But it's like the whole Oppenheimer thing was so crazy to me, because I'm like, so are we gonna, like, where does this end? Are we gonna cry and be like, oh man, like, it sucks that the Union in the Civil War were so mean to those in the South, to the Confederates. It's like, well, that's the only way slavery was gonna really end. So we don't get to the advancement and equality of all races that we have in 2023 without the Civil War. And so that's where I was like, oh man, I was just so annoyed reading some of the comments that people were making about
No, yeah, yeah,
Oppenheimer. Because
yeah.
I'm like, what
Some
do you?
people definitely, yeah.
It
Some
was
people
just,
definitely take it too far,
yeah.
But to kind of play devil's advocate, like okay, like you
Mm-hmm.
brought up like Mexican American War, right, all that kind of stuff, and then even
Yeah.
like the Union, right, Confederacy.
Right.
Um, it's like you said, like the history oftentimes is written by the winners, right? They
Mm-hmm.
get to put down their version of history.
Right.
Um, and uh, and I remember as a kid, like okay, like even in school, right, like they teach you about like Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, and the general overview was like, oh yes, Abraham Lincoln like was the president of the U.S. and he helped end slavery. They won the Civil War, et cetera, et cetera. So you grow up with these notions thinking, oh, dude, Abraham Lincoln was like, the best guy. If you're an African American, it's like, bro, you have Abraham Lincoln to thank. There's that kind of sentiment going around.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older and looked into more history, it's like there are times where, like, in history, you'd see like, oh, Abraham Lincoln like ended slavery because eventually it would have like ripped the country apart, and they want to get rid of it because they wanted to tax like the South, right, because of like slavery and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so Lincoln thought the only way to save the country and like to end the war is like like we have to win and then we have to abolish slavery. Um, but at some point, like like George Washington, like those presidents, all those like they, everybody has like some dirt on their hands. You know what I mean? Even like Lincoln, you know, probably would have still, been okay with like people like using the N word. Say, I'm using that like as an example, right?
Yeah.
But he had to get rid of slavery, right? And so when people go around saying like, "Oh, Abraham Lincoln was like great," it's like, well, he did as much as he could at the time, but I'm not going to go around saying like Abraham Lincoln was like maybe didn't have any like racist sentiment in him. You know what I mean? Because it's like what year was it? Like 1860s. I gotta think that people around him or even him himself, were saying or doing things that by today's standards wouldn't be like a good look, so to speak. But at the time, it's like
But
he
then
helped end slavery.
but then I think that's dangerous to kind of live like that,
Well, yeah.
because then you
What I'm
begin.
saying is you can't look at it as an absolute. Like it's like it can both be true that Abraham Lincoln was instrumental in like ending slavery, but he probably could have had some racist sentiment in him. You know what I mean? As far as
But
like day to day life.
yeah, but I think that kind of gets to like a level of where we where we begin to demand perfection from the people in the past when we don't have it. So it's like maybe he did, but have have we never had any prejudiced thoughts, or have we never like,
oh yeah.
and I think that's where it gets like super weird, because it's like we're judging the past from the perspective of what's acceptable in the culture. Like when I growing up, it was normal, and I think that's the that's the key word. Not that it was okay, but it was normal if somebody did some, and it didn't matter if it was guy or girl. If somebody did something, if they were being annoying, it was normal to say, "Hey, stop being gay."
Right.
And it didn't mean like you were acting like a homosexual. It was just like,
Right.
dude, you're being annoying. Stop being gay. And you would say that to
Yeah.
girls, you would say that to guys. It didn't matter. But if you say that now, and somebody goes and says, oh, I don't know, German's that dude's a bad dude, man. Like that guy,
Like a homophobe. Yeah.
he's homophobic. Why? Well, when he was little, he used to tell me like, oh man, stop acting gay. It'd be like, whoa, those are two, like that is not what that meant. And I think that's
Yeah.
sometimes what we do with people in the past. And it's like, well, we're not arguing whether it was right or right, but if that was the norm,
Yeah.
it's different. It's different because they're they're living by completely different social rules and culture rules than we are. If And obviously, I'm not, I don't know what Abraham Lincoln did or didn't do, but I think that's where it gets kind of dangerous to to kind of referee from the present everything that happened in the past, and vice versa, to
Right.
try to say what's going to be normal and acceptable in the future while living in the present. And because we just don't know. We just don't
Yeah.
know what's, eventually it might come out that we can't say a word that we grew up saying. You're like, what? I've
Oh
always said
yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Like, and I remember Kobe got in trouble for that. Kobe got in trouble
Yeah. Oh
for,
yeah. No, yeah. Of course. Of
like he
course.
called
Yeah.
the referee the homophobic slur. And I remember playing playing basketball, and I remember saying it,
Yeah.
but it didn't mean what it meant.
Right.
And now it takes on
Yeah.
a completely different meaning to say that. So
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. It's just that, like, and I'll give you another example, right? Because, like, you talk
mhm.
about Mexico. And this is what I mean, like with the Lincoln thing. This is what I mean, like when you have these like general overviews of situations, then like once you look into the matter a little more deeply, you're like, oh, whoa, there's a lot more complexity than meets
Mhm.
the eye, right?
Yeah.
So Mexico, for example, right? When I was growing up, when people would be like, oh, you're Mexican, oh yeah, you're Mexican, blah blah. In my mind, I thought, oh, bro, I'm like part Aztec. Like since I'm Mexican, like that is Mexican, like Aztec and Maya are like the two main big cultures that like when you think of
Mm,
indigenous people, you're like, that's what we are. We're a mix of like Spaniards and at the time Aztecs and Mayas, and I thought that's just what it was. I was like, okay, cool, like and the whole like Estadio Azteca, like the Mexican boxers called like Guerrero Azteca, like
yeah.
that's like the main banner that we fall under, right?
Right.
And then like my mom, the part of Michoacan that she grew up in, there's a tribe like in indigenous people called the Purepecha. I don't know if you've heard of them, but
No.
when I first heard about it, I was like, "What is that?" Like that's I've never heard of that word, so I looked it up, and it's the main indigenous tribe that's in that area, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I have like I have people here in town in Paso that are from Michoacan as well, from a town called San Juan, right? And have you ever heard the word Parangarico Tirimicuaro?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so San Juan, that word is in the name. It's San Juan Parangarico Tirimicuaro. Like it's the place that is referenced by that word, right? And it's like an indigenous word.
Right.
And so I'm thinking like and once I just start discovering this, I'm like, wait a minute, like I had no idea there were other indigenous tribes in Mexico other than Aztecs and Mayas. And I was like, hold on, hold the phone. What do you mean there's all these different people? I thought that we all just were all either Aztec or Mayan or, and then as I look into it, like, okay, like on the map, like this is where the Aztecs were, this is where the Mayans were, blah, blah. And my sister got her like her DNA test, like the ancestry thing done.
Mm-hmm.
And 50% of her DNA is indigenous to the Americas. And on the map, it'll show you what regions of Mexico, right?
Oh.
And on the map, we were the indigenous part for Mexico we're from is from Michoacan and from Zacatecas, where my dad is from.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And so at that point, I'm thinking, wait, so like, there's a likelihood that I'm probably not even a descendant of like Aztec blood. Like probably not at all. But I
Yeah.
probably am a percentage like Purepecha. And then I went on YouTube and I looked up like people in cities in Michoacan that still speak the indigenous language. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So my entire world was like flipped upside down, where it's like, and I asked my dad in school what they would teach him in Mexico as a little kid. And it's like, oh, they teach you about like when the Spaniards came, the indigenous, blah, blah, blah. But they don't really teach much else. And so when you look into it, like I found a list of like all the different names of the tribes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, no, like, I'm like, no one ever showed me this or taught me this. And I'm like, wait, so that's what I mean when it's like the winners write a certain history and then you're taught
Yes.
it, and then it's like you know it at face value,
Right.
and that's about it. But once you look into it, there's so much more to see and look into than what you're just shown. And that blew my mind. And I was like, wait a minute, no way. Um, and then when my grandma visits, I ask her these kinds of questions, and it's like a lot of it has it just isn't passed down, or it's kind of like erased, where like which is where we're at now, where like most Mexicans are just like, oh, like yeah, we're all Aztec and Maya, but it's like those are but like a small percentage
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
of like the actual full representation.
Right.
Um, even in like Guatemala and stuff like that, where because it's pretty close to like the southern tip of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had no idea. I was like, hold the phone. You mean to tell me there's tons of other languages, tons of other like cultures all the same?
Yeah.
Kind of like Native Americans here in Mexico, where it's like you mainly just think of like the Cherokee, right? That's like
Right.
but there's all kinds of other tribes that I'm like, man, I had no idea. I was blind
Yeah.
to that,
Right.
But yeah, sorry, little tangent right there. But
No, that's good
yeah,
stuff. But yeah, I think to bring it back to the Oppenheimer, it was interesting to see him battle with the moral conundrum, of like, from one hand, you just helped your country and you did good. And on the other hand, he felt awful of the damage. And,
right. And then even after and before, like when he got him for the project, they were skeptical of like because of his ideology, like his left leaning ideology, right?
yeah, the communist stuff, yeah.
And then they decided we're gonna have him on the project,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what we know about him. And then after the fact, when it's all said and done, the bomb goes off. And then like, wait, you're a communist. And it's like, but you knew that when you asked them to help with the bomb.
It was interesting to see it because obviously we live in a place now where communism isn't really vilified like it used to be. So it was interesting
Right.
to see that, like, oh man, America used to be very anti-communist across the board, like Democrat and Republican, like no commies. And it was interesting to see how it has softened nowadays. But yeah, that was such a intriguing part of his past, that he was a communist.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I remember when you did your little the expired
Yeah,
espresso.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you did one on communism,
I
right?
did, yes.
Okay. And because throughout the movie, when like Oppenheimer was like, oh, like just hearing the words, Communist Party of America, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, huh, like,
It's like an oxymoron.
yeah, because the only time I'd ever heard about like commies growing up was uh, like when we went to war with like Vietnam, right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
was like, oh, they're communists, or like the Soviets, they're like
Mm-hmm.
communists, this and
Yeah.
that. Um, and then when Oppenheimer was beefing with like the other scientist at his school about he's like, oh, keep the politics out of your classroom.
Yeah.
And he's like, but don't you want a union for scientists? You know, blah blah. And it's like, and just seeing them go at it, I was like, oh, okay, you know. And then what, like when they were interrogating him, like in that little like the meeting where it's like okay, like Florence Pugh's character, like just
Yeah.
the fact that he like had a relationship with her and she was like a communist, they were just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like you guys are like you're gonna. People were afraid enough that they were like, oh, they're gonna tell the Soviets what we're doing because he's sleeping with a girl who like is a
Right.
communist, right?
Yeah.
And then I kept like when you dropped your little video, I kept thinking I was like, man, I feel like people throw the word communist around so easily, especially like back in the day, right? Where it's like if it's any kind of left leaning thing, it's like, oh, communist, right? You know?
But it wasn't even
And
left wing. It was like different because it was a different ideology of like communism. Because it wasn't it was this like because communism at its core is anti-capitalist.
right,
So it's like this like bigger government, shared wealth, and so I think it was that sense of because even like Democrats, like the left is not about that either. The left wants to make
right,
money.
right, right, right,
So it's like a different aspect of like left winging because
right, 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 yeah,
like it's almost like different party altogether.
yeah. And but here's what I was getting at, because like when you dropped your little video, all the countries you mentioned, right? Because you mentioned
Yeah.
Cuba, right?
Right.
The Soviet Union,
Hmm.
was it China, right? China's
Yeah,
another one.
China. Yeah.
And then like okay, like especially here in Paso, right? You know, up here, like definitely more conservatives up here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When you mentioned all those countries in your video, I was like, okay, they are communists, sure, right? Or you mentioned North Korea. North Korea's like
In
another big
North
one, right?
Korea. Yeah. Yeah.
I also kept thinking to myself, I'm like, all those countries, even if they don't present it directly, have some form of like a dictatorship going on as well,
Yeah.
right? Fidel, Kim Jong Un, right?
Hmm.
Stalin with the Soviet Union. The funny thing that I noticed is like, okay, like there are certain things that like there are countries like I think like Sweden or like Denmark are pretty like left leaning politically.
Yeah.
If you were to mention some of the things that those countries do to like Americans, I feel like they'd right off the bat be like, that's communist. And I'm like, hold the phone though. Like, I don't think Sweden or Denmark or even like Switzerland are like communists. But even just mentioning some of those like concepts that some left leaning countries have, it's like Americans kind of get kind of like,
Yeah.
whoa, if you go that far left,
Like the
there's like a
socialist
fear.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's like a fear about it. So like seeing Oppenheimer like being like with the Communist Party in America, I'm like, how like communist is it? You know what I mean? And I was like, because I'm thinking like, and again, this is me like looking at it from like decades ago, like from today. I'm like, did they really think Oppenheimer was gonna like rat out the U.S. like to the Soviet Union? I'm like, because I'm like, the Soviet Union was like, that's intense stuff, you know? That's like Stalin was like killing people, you know, or same thing with like North Korea. It's like North Korea, it's like you can't even say the wrong thing without Kim Jong Un like just making people disappear, you know. But that was just kind of like weird to me because okay, here's another thing. Like I remember I watched the documentary about what's it called Fernando Valenzuela, right? Dodgers. Is that the pitcher, right? The
Yeah.
Mexican pitcher.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so I didn't know that there was a time when Mexicans as a whole weren't really messing with the Dodgers, and it was when they first moved to Chavez Ravine, right?
Yeah, but it took the
And they
land, yeah.
displaced all the people that were living there.
Mm-hmm.
And in the documentary, they were mentioning that there was a guy who, when they asked people to move out so they could buy the land and build the stadium, I can't remember the guy's name, but there was a guy that had promised them, "Oh, I'm going to build more housing so that then you guys can have a place to live since you guys sold your houses in Chavez Ravine, right?"
Yeah.
And so all the Hispanic people and Mexicans were like, "Okay, cool. We're going to sell our houses. This guy's going to make these housing projects, and we're going to live there." And that's that. We'll have a place to live. I guess the guy that was in charge of those housing projects at the time, because this is, I don't know how far back this might have been, like 50s or 60s, I guess. But I don't know what happened to the guy, but the guy was accused of being a communist. And based on that alone,
Oh,
the guy was not allowed to make his housing projects.
yeah.
And therefore, all the Mexicans had no place to live. And so until Fernando Valenzuela came to the Dodgers, the Mexican fan base in LA were not messing with the Dodgers because they were known as the guys that took their homes
Right.
and then they had no place to live.
Yeah.
And so then the story goes that so the Dodgers were like, well, how do we get the Mexican fans engaged with the Dodgers again? So they sent a scout to Mexico to try to find players, and they were sent to watch some shortstop. And so the guy was there. The scout for the Dodgers was there at the game. He saw the shortstop and he's like, "Damn, this guy kind of sucks. He's not really like what we thought he was going to be."
Mm-hmm.
But there is this chubby little pitcher that's pretty freaking good. And so he calls the Dodgers, tells them, "Hey, the shortstop sucks, but I found a pitcher. Can I get him a tryout? Can I bring him over? He's really good." Boom. Fernando becomes a Dodger. Fernando Mania. Mexicans to this day, like we ride and die for the LA Dodgers. Um, but there was a guy that just didn't get to make houses for the Mexicans, and all because I don't know what he did, but they're like, "Oh, he's a communist," and it's like, boom, you're done. Like,
Yeah.
we are not having any communist guys here.
Right.
But yeah, it's like a boogeyman term. It's like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like, hold on, bro. Like, But yeah, seeing
Yeah.
Oppenheimer kind of get like ripped apart in those like hearings after, I was like, dang, was it really that like hardcore? Like back in the day, like where they were scared?
Yeah. Well, especially during the Cold War, because you just didn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You didn't know who was with who.
Right, right, right. Yeah. History, man. It's a trip.
It's the best. But yeah, but overall, I thought it was so well made. And obviously the acting was incredible.
I didn't even mind that it was like 3 hours long. I was like,
Yeah.
this is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a good movie. Like, you're not even tripping about the time. Because there are
Mhm.
definitely some movies where I was like, is it almost over? How are they gonna wrap this up?
Yeah. Yeah, but it was so good. It was so great to
Oh,
watch
I
it.
like the Einstein thing too.
Yeah, the Einstein
Oh,
wrinkle was cool.
that was cool. How they like that first scene where he goes out to him by the pond and then
Hmm.
Einstein walks away. And I was like, oh, I wonder what he said to him. He must have something like kind of mean, or I don't know. He must have something weird to him to get him kind of spaced out. And then it ended up being that like Strauss was like the villain, so to speak, in Oppenheimer's case, where it's like he set him up after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was super cool.
yeah. Any other movies? Did you watch Barbie? Any other movies you're looking forward to?
No, I didn't watch Barbie. Did
Me
you
either.
watch it?
No.
Yeah.
I did see all the girls like dressed up for it outside the theater though. Like they were there in droves. Like, But I'll let them have their moment because like whenever Star Wars movies come out, like I'm there with my lightsaber, like so, to each their own.
Right. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but it was I was there for Oppenheimer and it was I'm glad I went. I'm glad I pushed for it. I'm glad I was like, you know what, I want to watch this because it was worth it. But I haven't seen anything else. I want to see the new Mission Impossible, but at this rate, I think I'm just gonna wait till it comes out on whatever streaming service.
Yeah. I saw
Might just
Ninja
reboot
Turtles
it.
the other day. The
Okay,
new
how was
Ninja
that?
Turtles. It was cool. Definitely made for a much younger audience.
Mm,
There's a lot of like Gen Z lingo. Like the turtles are actually like they're 15 in the story. They're really young.
yeah.
So like I went with a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Dude, these are not the turtles I remember like from when I watched them as a kid." And he's like 21, 22.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, they're not." I was like, You can definitely tell like they're for like kids that are now like maybe like 13, 14 right now.
Right.
Um, but I had a good time. The art style was really cool. The art style was um in a similar realm as did you watch like the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
I saw the first one.
Oh, you gotta. So it's kind of like that. Like it's kind of that like it's animated and it's kind of like 2D but not 2D. Like it's kind
Okay.
of like
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
turtles kind of have that aspect. So it was pretty cool. Um, and there was a nice little not even like a post credit scene, but at the end of the movie they allude to the next villain for the Ninja Turtles.
Mm,
And spoiler for everybody, spoiler. Shredder is not the villain, right? There's like another villain, but
yeah.
at the end of the movie, they allude to Shredder, and you're like, oh my god, because Shredder's like the main big baddie,
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
and
cool.
Jackie Chan was Master Splinter. He was,
Really?
yeah. So he was. I love Jackie Chan. He's so like endearing,
Yeah.
and he's now entering his like grandpa phase, like just like the older sage guy. It's no longer like Rush Hour 3 jokes. It's just like he's just like that old wise guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, he was cool. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like for the kids, like bro, like take what's your little brother's name? Jerry.
Yeah, Jared, yeah.
Yeah,
Take him.
take him. I think he'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
Nice. But yeah, I
dude,
think
how long are we recording? Oh my gosh.
we're rivaling Joe Rogan at this moment. So, but yeah, I thought, watch Oppenheimer. Uh Crawford is really good, if you didn't know. And Canelo fights September 30th. So,
Canelo's fighting focused and pissed off. We like it.
yeah. I was one last thing. I was surprised. Why isn't he fighting September 16?
I don't know.
Like I when I saw he was fighting in September, I didn't even bother to
Yeah,
verify the day. I was like, all right, September 16, cool. And
like let me
so
get that weekend off.
I like requested the day off. I'm like, all right, I'm all set. And then on the Instagram, I saw that, it was like September 30th, Canelo. And I'm like, September 30th? Like, that's not right. And I go, like, he's fighting September 30th? I'm like, what?
Do you
So,
think? Do you think that's a thing where like just they just had to agree on some terms and it took a little bit longer than expected, and they just put it off for 2 weeks, like
yeah, I'm guessing the arenas had it booked already. I'm guessing they didn't think he was gonna fight because he just fought in
that. Yeah,
May. So I didn't. So they probably thought he's not gonna fight again this year. While he's not so close to September. So
yeah,
that's probably what that was.
yeah. But no, we're excited, of
Yeah. So
course.
keep an eye on that, and next time we'll discuss the De La Hoya documentary.
Yeah,
and so we'll get into that, and then football will be back by the time by next time we talk. So
true.
That should be very exciting. The unhinged 49er tweets will be back in a few
weeks.
weeks.
I can't wait. All you know is pain.
One of these years, the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl, and I'm not even going to know what to say. So
I'll be miserable because you'll be so happy. I'll be sad. I'll be like,
That makes you a great friend. So I'll take it. That's fine. But
nice.
Yeah, so good pod. Listen to it. We have soccer returning this weekend, so things are picking up. It was a very quiet month or so because it was just nothing but baseball, but soccer's back. Football preseason's in full swing, so a lot of stuff going on, a lot of movies. I do want to watch the new one, and I'll finish with this. There's a new movie coming out with Leo and Martin Scorsese. He's the one that directed it. It's about like some Indian tribe in Oklahoma, and how they had like bought the land and they owned the land, and so they had like signed up a contract with the U.S. government where they got to keep everything under the soil, and it turned out that in that land there was a bunch of oil.
Oh,
and so then like the government started to kill out, and so the only way you could get the lands by inheriting. So a bunch of white dudes started to marry like the indigenous women to get the land, and there was like some like foul play. A bunch of people started dying and stuff like that. So it looks really good. So I can't wait to watch that. So I do want to watch that. I think it comes out like
Leo DiCaprio's in it.
October, November. Yeah, Leo's in it. Robert De Niro's in it.
Oh.
So yeah, that's the movie I want to watch next.
Nice.
So yeah. So I can't wait for that. So we'll try to add like movies to discuss or shows to kind of like expand the conversation. But
right.
That movie, I'll see. I'll look for it to see what it's called, and I'll text it to you. But it looks really good, so I can't wait.
I think I'd like to know. Is it called Maestro?
No,
that might be it. No, is that another one?
It's called it is
Killers
called...
of the Flower Moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Yes.
Oh, Western crime drama. My dad would love that one. Heck yeah.
Brandon Fraser's in it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it should be
excellent.
Yeah, it should be a really good movie. So I can't wait to watch this one.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But David, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for staying up late with me. And hopefully our boy shows up September 30th and runs through Canelo. But we'll talk from here to there.
Runs through Charlo.
Yeah. Through Charlo. Yeah. And so yeah, but it was a pleasure.
Of course.
And, I'll talk to you soon. So likewise. For the Ears Up podcast, thank you for listening. Until next time.